everybody. How is everybody doing? Welcome to Call to Action Live. I'm sitting on screen here with someone I have never been on screen, I don't think, for a full broadcast of a C2A show. I mean, we can't count the hangouts. Not going to count those like drunken, random, like 3 a.m. streams.
Yeah.
But we're hosting Call to Action Live together. Jake, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right, man. I can't complain. Well, I mean, I can complain because I'm on screen with you.
That's true. There's shot one.
I mean, it is what it is.
I gotta say, I almost want to warn people. I don't know. I think people expect us to like go back and forth because that's pretty much all we do, nonstop, all over every YouTube channel. Everything we moderate and not, we just keep shooting shots. But that would mean we'd never get to talk about these great matches we had. So it might be a little lesser, but I expect the occasional zing. You want to throw a Streamlabs zing at one of us, Team PLD, Team Jake, go right ahead. We'll read those out and we'll see what happens. I have to say real quick, I want to say I'm excited to be back here. I realized this before the stream tonight. I looked back. I haven't been on a Call to Action stream since April 12th. That blew my mind. Yep. Now, I know we've been very busy lately. I know we've had a lot of crews that have gotten new jobs. We've all kind of had this too much content going back and forth. We're moving shows left and right, trying to figure out where it's all fitting. And we were doing Saturdays for a while when I work. Danny took time off, so we've had like time off from Chilled Action, which is hopefully, we're still working on trying to bring that back on a more consistent level. And I was like, how the hell did I miss like almost 2 months worth of content?
Yeah, and since that time, I've been on 3 times, which is 3 more than usual. So something's off.
We are dragging the bottom of the barrel now. We're getting Jake on screen.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you.
Come on. I had to get at least one. And, I mean, we had 15 hosts. We still couldn't get everybody together, but that's all right. We're still working on it. We're making it through. Let's get to these matches. We did have a week full of basically, honestly, pay-per-view level matches all week long. They're all great.
Hold on, but before we get into it, just got to shout out our boy Matty Gunner and his band Shadows of Azrael. They got their new album coming out soon. You can catch him on Paul's channel, Scoundrels of the Force, their Star Wars show.
Yep, which is going on tomorrow. We usually go Sundays, but we had to go tomorrow because of Jarvie being held up somewhere and travel-wise. We're going to do it tomorrow at around 3:15 Eastern time on the PLD Product channel. But yeah, Matty Gunner, Action Army General, good dude. That's a great band, so can't wait to hear the new album they have coming out. I just want to shout out people there. Thank you, Galaxy Geeks. They wouldn't have started our channel without seeing how much we've done. Wow, that's very awesome, man. We appreciate
flattering.
That. That's very flattering. We appreciate that. And of course, Malcolm, always good to see you, Malcolm. And of course, Ben Rayner, another big time supporter. Always glad to see you here, guys. Top supporter. But let's get into
Cost.
Danny Cost, of course. Danny Cost in our chat. K Wolf, another one. But anyway, we had these great matches this week. I mean, each match we had Thomas Harper versus Ace Cabrera. We have Chance Ellison and Robert Parker. I almost put them together. That's really going to be bad. They're really going to hate me when I
You didn't almost. You did.
I stopped right at the very last second. I kind of went Chance Parker. I think it's because Chance Parker sounds like a game. It just sounds like a board game somehow. I don't know. Parker Chance Parker. Maybe it's a comic book hero. That could be a comic book alter ego. Chance Parker. I don't know. I'll have to see. We'll talk about that when we get there. We also had other great matches. We had we had JT versus Preston, and we of course had Schmodown versus, which is Paul Yaman gets Ethan Irwin, and of course Ben Bateman versus John Roca. We're going to get to all of them. We're going to do them mostly in order, except for we're going to go a little bit out because we have two guests that got to appear against each other last week. They've kind of made a name for themselves having rivalries for quite a long time, before the Schmodown, in the Schmodown, and now I'm combining their names to become superheroes. Let's get them on here together. First of all, we got from the dungeon, Robert Spider Parker. My friend, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Trying to keep on taking care of business. Thank you guys so much for having me on. It's been a while since I'm back on the old C2A channel, but it's always welcome.
Yeah, we always love having you.
Always love
being on.
In addition to the Spider, we have another one, this time from Corruption. Boo.
Boo. Wow, you're going to boo our guest?
Yeah, I'll do that. I can do that to Chance because he knows I love him. Chance, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. Good. a little biased here, but yeah, it's always I was back on C2A. I can't remember last time I've been on this channel, but yeah, it's good to be back.
It has been a while. It's been a while. We've been wanting anybody to be back on, honestly. We've been so
That's true,
we know we haven't been doing a whole lot, to be honest. We're just finally getting more consistent again. Trying to whip our crew back into shape. So, do we like Chance Parker or Parker Chance as our superhero name first?
There's the ship name. What are we doing?
That just sounds like a good alter. You guys all can do a ship if you want. That's a totally different story I was talking about. But making love happen, the Throwdown.
I like Chance Parker.
Alphabetical is a better way. Chance Parker is the way to go.
Chance Parker? Okay. Yeah. Maybe it's Peter's, like, long lost cousin.
Also, Chance isn't really like a last name. Parker can be either first or last. Like,
that is true,
I'm flexible.
Okay. All right, you said
it. It does sound more like a movie character than Robert Ellison, too.
That's definitely true.
Robert Ellison is my accountant.
I'm not saying he's a lawyer and accountant. That's pretty much what you got there. So, well, all right. You guys have the big matchup. Obviously, it was a rematch waiting for happening. You guys had such a long history together. Was this like just another match at this point, or you guys get hyped up every time you face each other? How does that go for you guys? Go ahead. We'll start with you.
I mean, I don't want to speak for Chance, but like we played each other a couple times here and there before we were both in the Schmodown, and it went both of our ways depending on which league, which division, all this kind of stuff. We played each other in multiple different formats. So like Chance is somebody that like we've known each other since like 2017 probably. Like it's been a while. But it definitely doesn't feel like just another match. At least for me personally, this one didn't. There was a lot that I definitely felt, after the way that the match went last year. For me personally, there was a lot just like, I need to prove to myself that I can beat him. I know I can. I just gotta go out and do it. And there was a little bit more riding on this one for me. It didn't just feel like, oh yeah, it's another like walk in the park. Like it's just a normal match, just playing against somebody who's won titles before. Like it's fine.
Yeah, and for me, like I said, I've known Robert for longer than I've known almost anyone in this. Probably longer than I've known anyone in this Schmodown. I knew you before Paul, so I probably know you the longest than any other competitor. But yeah, when it came to this match, I felt about the exact same as when I was facing him last year, which was like, oh crap, facing Parker. But this time, he's really pissed and he wants my head. So I'm like, okay, gotta be ready for it. I saw we had the hand. I'm like, okay, I can't be on the receiving end of that treatment. So we gotta get to work.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, it was a hell of a promo.
Yeah, all credit goes to Eric. We do our very small parts, and he's the one who makes the magic happen.
I believe if I'm correct, if I heard from one of the channels Mara was on, Mara and Dan were driving you to the airport at one point.
They were. That was literally we got dinner. We got breakfast that morning or brunch. I don't even remember what time it was. We went to like this little random diner, and then we were just sitting in the diner parking lot, and I'm like, oh shoot, I never recorded my promo. Let me just do this real quick. And it was like an hour before we went to the airport.
Yeah, when it came on, I was like, why the hell is he in the back seat? What's going on here?
Well, also, like, I didn't have room in my suitcase to, like, pack the suit, and I wanted to do, like, this full, like, a much bigger, like, thing with Kaiser and, like, everybody, and it just didn't work out. So everything else got delayed, and literally, like, 2 hours before I flew away, I was like, oh, let's do this real quick. But I think it turned out well.
It did. That's sometimes the best thing to do. It's funny. I find like now, like I'm getting more involved with the FCL, like finding how the promos work and everything. It's really how quickly they can come together, or how necessarily quick they can kind of come together at some point.
Yeah.
But if it works out, sometimes it's the best to get it like just really.
It's an absolute testament to our procrastination and the editing skills and speed of Nerdchronic.
Nerdchronic will make it look magic in post. I've read this it goes.
Right.
So, and we know a thing or two about procrastination too. So
it's true.
That's true.
Actually, I'm impressed we were on time today. That was actually like the first time we've been on time in like forever.
It's because you got such great guests. Yeah.
We're the only reason you're on time today.
That's probably true. That's probably true.
Say what you will about this guy. He's at least punctual. So.
Well, I gotta ask this chance. I know that Robert obviously has been doing all the IG stuff for like a while now. That's his focus. You are obviously someone who has been dipping your toe in singles and in teams and in intergeekdom. How do you keep it all straight as far as like? I mean, he's got one thing to study for. I mean, not one thing, but one base thing to study for.
One league.
You have there's 2 different leagues to study for, and even strategies for teams with Mike, for example. I mean, how do you keep that all straight, and where does it one stop and one start? I mean, you had a match again. You had your corruption match against Danger Zone the week before. Like, how does that all how do you keep that straight?
It's all about learning to just balance your time, because I knew it was going to happen when I'd agreed to be a 3-division player. I was supposed to take some low matches. I didn't have to prep a lot for, but then I became good. I became good at IG, so I had I can't just take little matches anymore. I gotta be a contender. So it's all about just budgeting, making sure my mind's in the right headspace for each division I compete in. Making sure I'm in the right headspace for singles, right headspace for team, right headspace for IG, and just knowing what information can be pertinent from what movie I'm watching at any point in the league. Like, there are certain things for IG I'm never going to need to know in singles. Like, you can't study for singles or teams the way you study for IG, because that's just overload. You can write down so many details, like the weight Ali was before he fought Frazier the first time in Ali. Just like, no, I'm not going to need to know that. So it's all about just knowing, knowing what where your competition is going to be and how to prep for it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, I got asked, though, if you ever... I mean, I guess with the faction in mind, of course, with the new faction points, we're getting more and more towards how every match matters and every win matters, and whereas it's not quite the throwback beer and have fun league at this point. So, now that you are a triple threat player, I know Jake will always be the throw beer, because that's today. We wouldn't want him any other way. Yeah. But you have a time where... you go in 3 leagues because you can get so many points. You can get an IG match, you get a win. Team match, you get a win. And you're one of the best. I mean, let's call it like it is. You're one of the best players on corruption. So you want to have your best players going. You want to get going. But have you ever thought about, what should I ever take a time and go, I'm going to just commit myself to IG. I'm going to say, this is my IG year. Or go the other way and say, this is my team's year or singles year.
It's crossed my mind at some point, but, we're in a situation where sometimes we can't afford that. Sometimes they need me on the front line. They need to plug and play me. Look at last year. If I decide to do that for singles and teams, we have no presence in the IG tournament.
Right.
That's the reason I was in the tournament. We had no other IG players in the roster. We still only have technically 2 players in the roster because Mike and I are the only ones that ever played an IG match. So
it's true.
I think that. There are times where I could see myself taking a break from one league and focusing all my energy into one thing. But right now, I'm having fun, just because that diversity gives me a lot of opportunities to play.
Fair enough. Yeah, you gotta go when the coach taps you. I guess you gotta say you're in. I need to close.
I got a question.
Huh?
What in the fuck is Project Power? It's actually not that bad.
It's not awful. It's just
not that bad. It's right.
It's like this Netflix movie from the guys who made Catfish.
Yes, it's a super movie with Jamie Foxx. Yeah, and yeah, it's one of the movies that they added this year that hasn't had a physical media release.
Yeah,
and it's only available on streaming.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I honestly never heard of it.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not awful.
It was at one point. It was right. At one point, it was in the top. I don't even know how many, but it was one of the. It was on the front page of Netflix. It was in the top 5 or something like that for a couple months in there. It was one of those movies that just came out during quarantine and came and went. Yeah.
All right. Well, now we got Mike Chan just said he and Mike are the only IG players on corruption at the point. Kind of makes it he has to play. Now, you, on the other hand, in the dungeon, you obviously have Mara as you did former champion and everything else. Does that help, having that kind of help, having Mara there, having, Smets the background, obviously. I mean, I know he's raring to go. Yeah, I texted him the other day, and he's texting me all these, flashcards he's started to do already again. I'm like, you're not even back yet, brother. He's like, oh, I will be. He will be.
That is very true.
So he acts like he's back already. So does that help? Do you lean on them?
Definitely. I mean, there's definitely a level of studying that you can do. You sort of get into a rhythm when you're doing it by yourself, and you have your own, framework for how you study. You have your own infrastructure, so to speak, and then it just really helps to. And I'm sure Chance can speak to this with Mike as well. It just helps to have another perspective. As somebody who takes notes in a different way, or pays attention to different things, or maybe writes a question in a different way. I might quiz Mara on a question that she had, a similar question with the same answer, a character who did a certain thing in a movie or something like that. But it's just engineered quite a little bit different, so it helps us sort of get into each other's minds and get into the question writers' minds. And yeah, it really just pushes us both. And I'm very, very, very fortunate and very, very, very grateful to have Mara. She's been an incredible study partner this year.
Awesome. That's awesome to hear. So we have all the new categories, obviously. I haven't really talked to you guys too much about that. How have you felt about the expansion of the IG League as far as the new categories, the dystopian future, the swashbuckling, and everything else? Yeah. I look at those faces, not exactly, not very thrilled. But
I like it more now than I did when I first got the list. I obviously don't want to speak for Chance, but like when I first got the list, I wasn't too happy. I was just not thrilled. I felt like at the time I felt like all the work that people had put in, including myself and Chance and Chandru and everybody who had put all their work into these core 8 categories, it felt like that work didn't mean as much anymore. But I've really come around on it, if only because I get to watch more movies now. And we'll like discover new things for the first time, or go back and revisit things I haven't seen in years with a new perspective, a new lens. Like, it really has been a breath of fresh air. And in hindsight, in retrospect, it is exactly what the division needed.
Oh, Chance, what do you think?
No, I agree. I do think the league needed an expansion. My whole reservation was they added some shits that I just like. I don't want to. I let the guy from Kentucky Fried Movie no, please, no. I told Pete this before. If I lose on Terminator Genesis question, I'll go and I'll burn down his house.
No one should be.
I can put up a lot, but losing on a Genesis question, that's where I draw the line.
Weirdly, I think at least in my opinion, the ratio of good to bad movies, it was before in IG, I honestly think there were probably more bad IG movies than there were good ones, and I think that ratio stayed about about the same.
Not the same.
But there's just way more movies now.
Yeah.
So where before there were, I don't even know, 150, 200 movies, now there's significantly more. So there's 60% more shit movies to watch.
Right.
And Genesis is one of those. And many others.
Waterworld.
Yeah. Oh god.
It also seems
I will fight you over Waterworld.
He loves Waterworld.
I'm sorry, Jake.
I know that movie does suck. I agree with Parker on this one.
I have not watched it. Like I said before we were talking about it, I have not watched it since it came out.
Good.
So
again, if you haven't seen it, just go to Universal Hollywood, watch the stunt show. That's it. That's all you need to know about Waterworld.
The problem is actually do got to start watching it because I got to write my own IG questions now for the FCL soon. So I got to start doing that.
Oh, that's a nice little self plug there.
Yeah. Good luck. Humble brag.
Have fun.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of fun to say. So I do feel your pain a little bit, but I get it though. Definitely, I agree with that. It does seem like the questions about the shitty movies come up a lot more frequently than you think they would. I do think that. I mean, every time I'm watching it, something comes up. I'm like, ooh, they had to watch that again and again.
Yeah, it's weird though, because you would think that even with the new categories, you'd get a lot of repeats of the same. Different kinds of questions, but the same movies being asked about.
Right.
I haven't done it this year yet, but in past years I had a list of what IG movies are asked about the most.
Right.
And really there hasn't been a lot of overlap. There's been some here and there, especially in the smaller categories. Something like a Transformers, which only has a certain number of movies. Jurassic Park only has a certain number of movies. Smaller categories like that, there's a lot of overlap. But in the more expanded categories, your dystopian future or swashbuckling or graphic novels, whatever it is, there's actually been really good variety about asking about lots of different kind of things, both good and bad movies, which I've been very grateful for.
Well, all right, let's get into our match. Now we got Robert for a few more minutes here, 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Let's get that. We had that first round. Obviously, started off with a dystopian future and time travel, and of course we had Jake made him ask it before. Speaking of Waterworld, that was your very first question. So right away, this taste just I can tell it on your faces. You're already talking about Waterworld. So
I'm done.
You're done already.
No.
But round one goes pretty typical. I mean, Parker goes. Actually, we should bring this up. You mentioned this beforehand.
Yeah,
you were going perfect and almost didn't quite get there because I mentioned that I thought the Jurassic Park question was a little difficult for a round question. One question having how many composers having contributed to the scores, and Robert, you told me a little story about that.
Yeah, so you can if you watch the match on that question, I don't even hesitate. I just instantly write down 4. I write down 4, and I then to double check whenever it's something like this, directors or composers, I'll always write the names of the people, the last names to try to just double check myself. I think I was thinking of the directors, which I'm pretty sure those are 4. But I just started writing down. I get all 3 names, and I'm like, oh no, there's no more. It's just those 3. So I have to instantly erase, and that's why the 3 is so small, and I'm so unconfident when I'm 3. I had a mini heart attack because I almost didn't even think and just went on autopilot for too much. I almost was not locked in.
That's funny. I love watching those moments back.
Yeah,
it's great.
It was scary.
It's scary. I have to go back and watch that again.
Yeah.
So we had
the fear in my eyes.
Fear. The whites in your eyes.
Yeah.
But then, so Chance, you missed the one question in round 1, the Star Trek.
Yeah.
Question. How did that seemed like it really bothered you? It really kind of bothered you in there.
Not that it bothered me, just I was so close. Because in my head, I'm okay. It's either in my head, I'm it's either Wrath of Khan or Spock. And I'm I think Genesis is I think Genesis is the ship from Wrath of Khan, and then the other one is Search for Spock. So I wrote that down. Then I realized, oh crap, Genesis is the project, not the ship.
Yeah.
And so I'm shit. So yeah, I'm it's just that's when I got first blood on me.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Did you, Chance? Did you know the question that Parker got for his bonus about the alligator meat?
I did actually.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
Does that always bother you more? Like that, if you miss one question and you hear the bonus, I fucking had that too. God.
No, it does. It really bothers me. That's shit. I got a 2-point difference, but you have to take this move on because there's still a whole lot of game left. You can't get too defeated in yourself.
Well, that's actually a great question. Also, I feel like as the divisions progress from the singles and teams to IG to Star Wars, missing a question of being down 2 points seems a lot harder in IG. And in Star Wars, it almost seems at this stage, it almost seems impossible. You miss one question, you're done at this point. But IG seems like it's definitely more, especially when you come to the higher level players like yourselves. You're down 2. Are you panicking at all? Are you cool as a cucumber still, or what's your mindset there at that point?
Speaking of myself, I think that you can't hit the panic button. Right. Because it's 2 points. It's not an insurmountable lead.
Right.
It's not like when I was playing champion. I just bombed round 1, and if he had got it per round 1, I'd be down 6. I'm okay, fuck that. That's when you hit the panic button.
Right.
But no, 2 points. That's nothing. That's nothing to sneeze. That's nothing to really get up in arms over. You just got just really just hone in, lock down, and then just continue with the rest of the game.
Yeah, especially because you never know what the difficulty of 5s is going to be. You never know if it's going to be an actor question, if it's going to be a plot question, if it's going to be a location or something like that. There has been quite a bit of variety in what kind of questions are being asked about as 5s this year. So at any point, in any match really, even in singles and teams, if you're within 5, the game is within reach, always.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the 5 is the great equalizer, especially in 3-round matches.
Yeah.
In any 3-round match, if you're within 5, it's game still.
Definitely. Yeah, if the 5-round match, you get more chance to come back, I think.
Right.
Build a slow comeback. But in this one, it's all about the 5 at that point. So you go into the round 2. Obviously, you're down 2. You get X-Men. You didn't seem like you were, overly excited about that. You seemed like there was definitely more things you possibly would have wanted more. But what made you stick with it?
I was playing it off. I'm just I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, that was the category I was looking on the wheel. I'm just yeah, I could do this because I've seen all of them. I think there's only one X-Men movie I've only seen one time, and that's New Mutants, because I have not I haven't been possessed enough to go back and watch it again. It's not awful, but it's just
not that bad.
It's not awful. There's certainly worse X-Men movies, but
definitely.
It's just not one I still not one I've returned to yet.
Right.
But yeah, knowing that I've seen all of them a couple times, that gave me a little bit and. I needed a big round because I felt like Parker's on it. I felt like he was gonna come in, he was gonna have a big round too, which he did. So I need to keep this game within reach. So that's why I felt like, I can do X-Men.
Good.
Yeah. You
And you did. You went 9 for 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you checked down once. But at that point, like I think you knew it was going to come down around 3, so that one point I don't think was that crucial. Is that how you were thinking about it?
Yeah, I'm like okay, because like I'm like okay, so either I take a shot at this because like I had a feeling if I missed it, he's probably going to take it because there's only 2 options. I'm like if I miss this, he's going to say the other one. He's going to get 2 points. I'm like okay, I'll go multiple, minimize damage control just in case I do miss it. And like worst case, absolute worst case, I whiff and he gets a 1 point steal, and or even like I get it on 1 point, he goes 10, I'm down by 3. That's still not bad.
I do feel like that's become more of a strategy. Like a lot of times, like people looked at it like the round 2 questions, like either going for the 2 or checking down. I feel like a lot of times, like I'm going to check down just because I don't want the 2 point steal. That's the big thing. Even if I know it, I'm like, just
especially if it is something that's easily guessable.
Right.
Like that question was. Even if I did know it, but even if I didn't, and if Chance did like say the wrong answer, there's only, like you said, 1, 2, maybe 3 other that it even could be. Whereas in like on like the quote question that he got later in the round, again he knew it, but had he said the wrong one, there's 10 other movies for me to pick. Right? Like if it's much more easily guessable, you want to check down just to, like you said, damage control. You don't want to even allow the opportunity for a 2 point steal if you can avoid it.
And I will also say that I hate quote questions, especially in like X-Men films, because like they all sound like they could
any of them could be in any of the movies.
Any of them could be in any movie.
That does not help me at all.
Same goes for Star Trek quotes. Those are very similar for me. Like, in which movie does Bones say, well, you know what? I don't even know if that's DeForest Kelly or Carl Urban. And so it could be any one of 9 movies.
Damn it, Jim.
Like,
I was say, damn it, Jim. God bless.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why quote questions are like the bane of people's existence. We're going to talk about it later on, Jake, in the Star Wars match. But, okay, so you check down to 1, you get swashbuckling adventure. That's what specifically we asked before about the new topics. This one in particular, I kind of like this category. Or how do you feel about this category in particular?
Yeah, I like it too. I knew that I had gotten apes in my Hannah match, which is a category that I'm not like an expert, a master in, but it's one that I had like put in some of the work on, and I knew that it was the first time it was spun. So I knew, and I was lucky enough that some of the questions were on a little bit of the easier side, especially I got a lot of data questions in that set.
Right.
But I knew Swashbuckling had been spun before. It was spun in the title match. It was spun, so it's been spun more this season, so it's not like this is going to be the brand, out of the box category of questions. But it's a category that, again, just with all the new categories I've put in the work on, there were other things that I definitely would have preferred on the wheel, but also stuff that I didn't care to respin to even have the option to land on. So I like a lot of the movies in the category. I had seen, at that time, I had seen all but a couple of them. There was only one at that time that I hadn't seen, and one of
was it Lone Ranger?
No, I had seen Lone Ranger. Actually, at that time, I hadn't seen Legend of Zorro yet. But I had seen, and I hadn't rewatched Mask this season at that time. I had seen Mask like 4 or 5 years ago, just like on my own. But I knew that I had, even to get the plot-based question that I did for Mask of Zorro, I had put in the work to be able to get them. So I felt fine with that category. I like a lot of the movies. I'm a sucker for like the first 3 Pirates movies. Like I like quite a few of those movies.
Even the bad ones are still usually watchable to a degree.
Yeah, they're fine.
To a degree. 4 is pretty bad.
Fine.
I get that.
I would rather watch the Pirates franchise than the Transformers.
Sorry, I have said that a lot. I'm like a broken record tonight. I'm very tired.
No, I like it. No, it's good. That's a good quote to have. Absolutely. I mean, you're gonna have a quote. That's not bad. All right. So we hit round 3. Obviously, Parker, you're up by 3 at this point, so you're feeling pretty confident. But a chance you still feel you're well within your possibility because again, the 5 is that equalizer. So you get Planet of the Apes, you get DC, you go back and forth, but your mixed bag question. And you miss out that 5-pointer there. What was your mindset? The Rocketeer, one of P.J. Campbell's favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
So you know it's coming somewhere.
You know it's coming.
I knew it was coming last year. That's why I watched the movie for the first time.
Right? You curse it though when it comes out, like, God, PJ.
A little bit, like, yeah, but it's like, PJ. I need to watch this mediocre film again.
Wow, mediocre.
It's funny. I think about that question. It's like, shit, who is that? And then I'm like, okay, it's a robust Italian man. And then I'm like, oh wait, I'm like John Polito pops in my head. I don't know why.
He is in that movie.
I know.
Yes,
I later found out he's in that movie, and that's in my notes. Yeah. He's a different guy, and he has not the same amount of screen time as Paul Sorvino. But yeah, I'm like, as soon as John Polito popped in my head, I'm like, nothing else is coming to me. So I'm just gonna let's just shoot and see what happens.
I honestly thought you were milking it for the first repeat. When you used, I genuinely did. Once you used the second one, I'm like, oh, maybe he actually doesn't know it. Like, but what I honestly thought you were just mugging for the camera by using the first one. You were maybe the hardest Schmodown competitor to read. Like, it is impossible to get a read on you if you actually. It's the sunglasses, it's the stupid little pose. Like, you're impossible to read. I have no idea what you're thinking. It's like there's some people if they're gonna get there. You know that if they use a repeat, they'll get there. You can see the gears turning. I have no idea what you're thinking at any time.
That's the new quote for Robert Parker. The stupid little pose.
The stupid little pose. But it works. It works. Like,
absolutely.
It works, and I become a meme now, so it's whatever.
Worst things have happened. All right, so Parker, we win. Congratulations, you did win, and I know you got to leave, but we do want to touch base with you really quick. You got your match coming up now against Chandru.
Yeah.
How you feeling? You feeling? Is you ready to play this guy? Because I feel like the narrative is now. I don't know if this is right or wrong. The narrative is the expansions hurt him quite a bit, but now he's had a lot of time off since he lost the belt.
Yeah, I think that was the narrative in February. But it's been a long time since then. And speaking of putting in the work, I respect his game so much. Again, I respect what he can do, the dedication to the game, his studying. I know he wants to get that belt back. I know he wants to play Mike, but so do I. And I really want to prove myself, and I really want to get that first title win. And I've been wanting to play Chandru since he debuted, before I was even in the Schmodown. When he debuted, I'm like, oh, I want to beat that guy in his debut match. So I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I think it helps that I have played recently. Even if he's been doing the work behind the scenes, it is different to like get the reps in and get in front of the camera and just to having played more recently, it helps. That's why people who traditionally are good at tournaments, like when they're playing every week, every other week, every month, they play better because they're playing more consistently. So I think I have that on my side. But he's a damn good player. And there's no way that, even if he came into the season with weaknesses on the new categories, there's no way that now 6 months later that there's still weaknesses. I'm just not gonna. What's the word? I'm not gonna like offend him or like I'm not gonna underestimate him at all. Like, I think it would be an insult to him. That's the word I was looking for. It would be an insult to him and his studying methods to think that those are still going to be weaknesses now 6 months later. I know the guy's game well enough to know that that's not going to happen. But it's a 3-round match. Anything can happen in 3-round matches. But I also haven't missed a question this season, and if I keep doing that, I hope I can't lose. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed I can keep that up. But yeah, it's going to be a good match, and there's nothing more than I want than to beat Chandru and then beat Mike. That would just be an excellent way to continue this season, and it'd be good for Dungeon too. Like, partially, notwithstanding this match with Chance, in general, Corruption's kind of had our number this season a little bit. It's been a lot of back and forth for the Dungeon and Corruption. So I think beating Chandru and then getting that Mike match, I think that'd be a great story. Another Corruption Dungeon head to head. I think that'd be something that people want to see.
Definitely think it's good. Yeah. So, all right, but where can the folks find you there, Parker?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at that Wait, at that, there we go.
There you go.
It's my first and last name, Navales, plus a year. And make sure you follow all of these lovely people as well. Sorry I have to hop out early, but I am tired and have to go to bed.
And Ashley says, please be Chandra.
I will do my best for you, Ashley.
There you go.
Thank you.
Ashley. All right, thank you,
Have a rest
man.
of your show, guys.
Always good to have you on board, my friend.
Later, brother.
Talk soon.
Take it easy.
So, all right. Now it's down to one. Now I'll tell you a chance. Now you have something you did lose. You're not going to face Challenger, but you got other co matches coming up now that are pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the good thing about being a fully player. Like, I have things to do. I'm never gonna run out of things to do, so I'm good.
You got the reps going either way.
Oh, yeah, I got reps. I got things going.
All right. So we'll talk about the first match coming up, the singles match versus coming up against Lon Harris, obviously. How's that going for you? Are you looking forward to that, and you got your strategies all worked out for that? Let's talk about that.
I'm feeling good about it, honestly, just because singles the league where I'm taking that the most seriously this year, just because I'm tired of hearing that I'm not a great singles player, just because I've gotten a few unlucky breaks here and there. That I'm tired of that narrative, and I'm working really hard to change that. Lon is a player like he's capable of he's capable of great wins. He's capable of some losses that defy logic.
Yes.
It all depends on what Lon you get that day, but I feel like even on Lon's best day, I can beat him.
So you read it. It's a pretty strong quote there, Eric. If you're watching, especially clip some down for things he does say. But no, you're obviously not wrong. I mean, Lon has definitely been pretty much a picture boy for inconsistency. He will have those matches where you're like, where is this coming from?
Yeah, Andrejko used to be the poster boy for inconsistency. No offense, Mark, but it used to be Andrejko. Now it's Lon Harris.
So now it's like, where do you get that from? Sometimes it's like, oh, where did that go? So
it's like this guy's on fire. And then you lost like that.
He missed what? Okay.
Yeah.
but let's. That's coming up. Obviously, you got your big title match coming up now against Shazam.
Yeah.
Now Shazam's looking pretty scary at the moment. I mean, they had that big match against the Odd Couple esque, or whatever you want to call it, the Odder Couple, whatever they did, whatever that.
Yeah. Well, Jeff and Janine is what I call them.
Jeff and Janine. There you go. Probably easy to do that, I guess.
So original.
It was very original.
Yeah. I also am not going to call them the Odder Couple.
You have to come up with something else, I guess. But so, how intimidating was that watching Shazam do that kind of damage to that couple, to Jeff and Janine?
Yeah, was I impressed? Yeah. Intimidated? Not at all.
Not intimidated at all.
No, I'm not, because look, that was just a good night for them. Anyone can have one great night. It's can you keep that up? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying they can't, keep up phenomenal play, which they can do. It's what they've done in their entire run as a team. But I know Mike and I can do that as well. I know that if we're both on our A game, we can take those belts. And
I will say the one thing about corruption. Obviously, I've been a long-term, dungeon supporter and a lot of stuff. You know that you're my mortal enemies, and I love you off screen, but on screen we gotta fight. But I will say, corruption has always been a team that is supposed to lose. That's like the narrative. Yeah. Like Shazam was supposed to beat them. The Founding Fathers were supposed to beat them. Danger Zone was supposed to beat them.
We're all supposed to get pounded in the dirt, but then we keep winning.
And then all of a sudden you look up and you're beating Founding Fathers like 3 out of 4 times. You beat Danger Zone pretty decently. I mean, and then now you got
we beat one of the greatest teams of all time, the Shire Wolves.
And the Shire Wolves, exactly that kind of thing. That's the narrative. So I don't know if the narrative's ever going to get changed. Does that bother you that the narrative is still that way? You still think you get something to prove, or you're just at this point saying, I don't give a fuck, I'm winning.
I've won 2 teams. I've won 2 teams belts. I have nothing else to prove in teams. That's why Ben Bateman calls the most overperforming team of all time. Doesn't change the fact we haven't lost a 3-round match in almost 3 years.
There you go. That's so. Hey, I'm a Boss man. I'm a Bateman fan, a Dungeon fan, but you have it exactly right there. Doesn't matter what he says.
Doesn't matter what he says. We get results.
I gotta tell you, so this is a personal thing now between you and me. A little backstage between Chance and myself.
Oh boy.
When the beginning, the new wheel slices were put in, I got a message from Chance. Saying this fucker is a slice. Of course, I'm talking about Ed Harris. He's like, I can't believe this fucking guy's a slice. He's all pissed off. And he tells me in point blank, goes, I hope Bateman loses on a Ed Harris question, motherfucker. And I'm gonna cut something like that. I totally laughed about it, and all I can do is I had corruption versus Danger Zone. I'm like, oh my god, Chance is going to put Ed Harris on the wheel or something like that. And it's going to end up costing Bateman the match. So I'm like, this is going to fucking come through.
Oh, that would have been so good.
I literally was worried. I went to like on the wheel. I'm like, I said, Harrison, please don't let it. For the first time in the whole year, I'm like, please don't let it Harris be on the wheel for this one.
If I remember I did that, I might have put it Harris on the wheel.
Such a personal thing, but okay. So I'm glad that didn't happen. But all right, so you got your matches coming up. You got your matches with Shazam and everything else. So you are ready to go. And again, you're bouncing from inner geekdom to singles to teams, but it's not something to bother you at all. You have your one little loss, but you're going to come back and you're going to fight next week. So does that also keep it good for you in terms of, like you said, you have the reps going. I lost a match. I got another match next week. I got to concentrate on. Doesn't let you like dwell on it at all.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have time to sit and be sad about losing to Parker. Right? I have other things to worry about. I have other points to make up. Like it's like it doesn't stop for me just because of one loss. Like you have to take it on the chin and move on.
Perfect, my friend. Well,
yeah.
Chance, I thank you so much for coming on. We've gotten through your matches. We're actually going to go through the rest of the matches now. I don't know if you want to hang out and talk about the ones you've watched this far, or you can leave it up to you.
Yeah, you need the ratings. I'll hang out a little longer.
You'll hang out a little longer? Okay.
Oh, you motherfucker.
I'll let him get away with it. He's the guest. I'll let him get away with it. Later on, I'll send him a message, bitch slapping him. But
hey.
All right, let's go on.
Chance and I spent a lot of time together in April, so I'll allow it.
A lot of time on the same roof.
That was I wish I could have come for that. That looked like such a fun time.
That was a blast, man.
Ugh.
We never want PLD to come on anything. So
right here. That was the worst part. I don't know if you knew this, Chance, or not, but I was trying to find a way to make it down. My job wouldn't allow us to travel outside of the state. Remember, they lifted the ban like the day before the wedding. I'm like, you fuckers.
Yeah.
As I was trying to find a way, I'm like, I couldn't make it work, unfortunately. But it was close. It was close.
So close.
It was a great time. You would have had fun.
Oh
yeah, I know. I saw the videos and I saw some of the streams, and it looked a lot of fun. Especially the Bob Ross dancing. That was a good one. Dancing to Bob Ross. Sounds good.
I still don't know who put Bob Ross on TV. Like
I forgot. I think that might have been like Rachel or Larry's wife. I don't remember.
That makes sense. Actually, that tracks. All right, let's go back to the rest of this week. The beginning of the week, we had the Ace Cabrera versus Thomas Harper Star Wars match. This was a big one. I really was myself looking forward to it because Ace obviously ran through the tournament last year pretty well. That was the big story, Upset City. But he got... he was handled, I would say. He was handled by Damon in the championship match.
He was definitely handled.
Yeah, that's the way.
And I say that as an Ace fan. He was handled.
He was handled. Damon didn't really miss
like Damon just took him out, put him over his knee, smacked him, and then just sent him back away.
See ya. Bye-bye. Go back to swag.
Try again next year, Sonny.
Exactly. That's pretty much exactly what happened. So I was very much looking forward to this match, this return to Star Wars. You have him up against Thomas Harper, who obviously is this year's golden boy. Everybody's planning he's going to win everything. He's
the only man keeping the Den relevant this year.
He is the Den. That's what I'm saying.
Last year, that was... Oh, wait, no, they weren't relevant last year. Never mind. So he is the one tasked with keeping the Den relevant this year.
He's definitely keeping them in the mix, that's for sure. He's definitely winning it. And actually, I will say, specifically the Den, I love Kate and Harper's interaction. That's actually amusing to me. So
I like that Thomas dude, man. That Thomas is cool.
Thomas Harper's been on the show a lot today. He's one of the coolest dudes. He knows his stuff. He's very complimentary to everybody. He's very genteel and everything else, but he knows when it's time to turn it on, he'll turn it on and he'll kick ass. That's what he does. So this was the match I was definitely looking forward to. I want to see who is Ace? Is he the Ace that got spanked, or is the Ace that ran through the tournament? And Harper would be a great point to challenge that, or to check on that. And let's say we got a great match here. We got a great match. But it didn't start out that way. It started out a little, for a Star Wars division with the named players like Ace and a main player like Harper, 2 misses in round 1 was a little eye-opening, I thought, in a way. It's kind of funny that becomes eye-opening because it's only 2 misses, but it became eye-opening to me.
But they both missed the same 2, right?
No, actually, no, they both missed one question. The first question they missed was they both missed the quote question, which was interesting. Because the quote question, they both were
that one was close.
Ace was very close. It was killed younglings, younglings.
Killing.
He said killing younglings, Whereas Harper said something different. He said actually a different quote entirely. Although, if you watch that match, after that happened, it looks like we had one of the old-fashioned something happened that we're not going to show you edits, and also it wiped and came out of that thing. And because Harper was like, and then also they just kind of cut.
Yeah, Harper said something like "did something bad," and that wasn't even close.
It was terrible.
But that also, that also brings up the question of. I know quotes are supposed to be specific, but they're really going in on that benefit of the doubt rule, and killing versus killed, like. Does that fall into that?
Star Wars is almost different. It feels like
normally it would, but this is Star Wars.
In Star Wars, like
there's literally no room for error in this league anymore.
Right, exactly. At this point, so I know what he did say. He said terrible things, and the reason why I remember he said that something to the effect of like was like kind of because she does say that like a little bit earlier on in the speech. It's kind of a weird juxtaposition, but either way, he misses that. They both missed that. Harper missed the very next question. And I was like, oh, is Harper coming undone now? But the very next question, interestingly enough, also involved a quote. So I'm kind of thinking, is this perhaps a...
Is kryptonite?
A kryptonite, in a way, exactly. It says, long, Palpatine says, long... Bernays down.
I believe it. Look. Thomas seems like he's like a nice guy. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's a facade. There is you could see the anger festering in his eyes.
Get him angry, you never know, man.
Angry, you never know what's gonna happen.
He just goes dark side. So, and Eric, I don't know if you just got here now. You got to rewind a little bit. Chance is a good quote about Lon Harris for you. But
yeah,
we'll continue. But yeah, so it was a kryptonite a little bit. In a way, he was a little upset about that. I was wondering if that was going to shake him because that was the first time we really seen him missing anything really. But then Ace kind of threw him a bone by missing the number. He missed the question. Oh, he missed the question about Nine Nub, a performer coming back to play a character in The Force Awakens. So he gets him out. So therefore, at the end of the round, they're tied up. They both missed the two questions. So at that point, it was like kind of like, all right, game's over. Game's restarted. We're restarting 0-0 at this point. I feel like that gave Harper enough fresh air to go, okay, I got to do what I'm going to do. But it also kind of said that Ace was ready to go too. So we move on to round two. Ace deferred and and Thomas got The Force Awakens. Seemed pretty happy with it. Blew through it, no problem. Ace got A New Hope. Blew through it, no problem. And that's a funny thing to me because all these questions are definitely a lot harder and they're having no problems now. So that's where it shows me that maybe quotes are maybe a kryptonite. Who knows? Numbers sure aren't for Thomas Harper. That's because there's been those number questions that are hard, and he's just like 50,000. How many credits? 50,000, whatever it was. It seems like the number ones are not the hard thing for him at this point.
I don't think I would say quotes is a kryptonite for him. He stumbled. He stumbled once. I don't expect him to do it again.
Well, both questions he missed in round one were quote. That's what I'm throwing out there. It might not be a kryptonite. He might not have a kryptonite. It might have been a rough day or whatever it was. It might have been some tricky the way they're worded. Who knows? But it's when you're looking for something. At this point, if I'm an opposing player, I'm going to try to give him the who said it in round two at this point because it seems like it's the only thing he's missed on at this point.
That's fair.
So I guess kryptonite's a strong word, but you're looking for any kind of chink in the armor at that point. You got to find that one little nugget you can extract. But they both go through. They're perfect in round two. Nothing like too out of the ordinary there. And they go through their round three. And they all do their round three. I mean, they do, Harper getting Jedi Order, Heroes, and Return of the Jedi. Boom, boom, boom. Kerber doing the same thing with Phantom Menace. He gets another quote, but luckily it's more of the who said it variety, which is the easier version of the quotes, I feel. And then Vehicles, Weapons, and Tech. We get sudden death, which just seems to be like what happens in Star Wars at this point.
It's pretty common terms at this point.
Like I can count how many sudden deaths we've had in singles teams and IG, and like compared to, I think we still have less than in Star Wars at this point. But they went through, and funnily enough, they actually missed other questions. They both missed the same question, but this was a different one about Aldar Bito's pod racing nickname in the Phantom Menace. So okay, they both have different names there. But luckily there's a final question. Ace blinks, and Harper gets it with the name of the bat-like creature getting a drink in A New Hope, and that's Cabe. So I just want to throw it there. Hey, Good to see Mr. Hannah in the chat. Always good to see the Hitman.
Is it though?
It is.
Is it though?
It is.
Your spelling may be flawless, but your gameplay isn't.
Wow! Woo! Shots fired. Shots fired. That's what we have chance on the show. He can be our kind of shots fired guy. He'll just squirt earth at anybody that comes to the chat. I like it. But at the end of the day, okay. So at the end of the day, Ace blinks and Harper gets the victory. Moving on to the finals, he'll face, of course, the winner of Gold Leader and Burkett. By the way, little joke behind the scenes, I said something about if Gold Leader beats Burkett, then he'll face Harper. And Jake's like, "Who's Pete Burkett?" I was like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Burkett.
Like,
I
Pete Burkett.
I was lost. I swear that's what I heard.
So maybe that's going to be his new name now from us. It'll be Pete Burkett instead of that.
Pete. Good old Pete Burkett.
Good old Petey Burkett.
See, now you're just making another thing that's it's gonna come a thing, and Christian's gonna get pissed off at us again.
That's true. We still haven't lived down Hot Man yet.
I mean, we got fucking Hot Man in the chat.
Oh, you guys. Oh, you're the one who started Hot Man.
Actually, no, that was him because it was in an Action Army chat, the general chat. He had a typo. He was trying to write out Hitman, and he accidentally hit autocorrector or something to Hot Man, and all of a sudden that was like, "Oh, that's his new name now."
Okay, the Hot Man.
The Hot Man.
What was it, Atlanta, when everybody was chanting it when he brought out the wheel?
That's true.
And Christian was like, "What the fuck are y'all doing?"
Christian's not happy. But speaking of that actually is Alder Bito's pod racing nickname is Hitman, so interesting enough. But anyway.
Oh, no.
Ace Cabrera, to me, the big thing about this match is, I mean, Harper still proving that he's pretty much invincible. Maybe he has quotes, we'll have to see. But he goes on to the finals. But the big part of me is Ace proving that he is still a top-notch Star Wars player at this point. Not that there was ever any real doubts, but you always want to see somebody come back from a spanking. I said that last year. I said that back in Spectacular when Mike got spanked by Smith. I was like, let's see him come back and do something. I want to see Oyama come back when he got spanked by Bateman in Spectacular. And they both have. And Ace is another one now who's come back and made his debut. And it seemed like he was a little bitter about it. I feel like in his post-match interviews, like, yeah, I'm still good. I'm still good, damn it.
I'm still good.
I'm still here.
Just you wait.
So, either way, I'm happy to see that's the case. So obviously, we'll get to see him hopefully in the next Star Wars tournament. Maybe he'll run through it like he did last year.
Well, it's going to depend. It's going to depend on Laura Kelly because
that's true.
If she loses to Milan, what's the guy choice to make?
That is a good point to make. I always forget that that could happen. Damn, that's the thing about these factions this year. You guys have all like strong number 1 and number 2s in most of the league, at least divisions at this point. So like you're having these 8-man tournaments, it becomes so hard, and like people's feelings got to get hurt. I mean, how do you really?
They were drafted with the understanding that, or the idea that the second term was going to be a 16-person.
That's true.
So that's kind of influenced the decision on that.
Yeah.
Or Winston's at least. But yeah, now it's only going to be 8s. Say you have does he go with Laura, who's a beast in Star Wars,
right,
or do you go with Ace, who's what's his boy? Either way, something's gonna. If he chooses Laura over Ace, no chance he goes back to that faction the year after. No chance.
He can't do it. No. He already had the. I mean, he says everything's okay, and he acts like everything was okay and everything else. But I think it's got to have bothered him a little bit that he put Laura out. It's got to. I mean, I could see coming back and think, all right, we'll make it work, but 2 times in a row, fool me once, fool me twice.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see what Swag does with next Star Wars tournament.
Absolutely, very interesting.
Also interesting what's going to happen with the next Star Wars tournament. What can you even ask anymore?
That's a good point. John the Straight at $5 super chat. Jake is doing a great John Cena impression right now. There's actually when he was off screen, I believe. Very funny, John. Very funny indeed. Now we can see him. We can see him now. He's not doing that good of an impression anymore. But yeah, so that's how that tournament ended. I'm excited to see Harper face either Gold Leader or Pete Burkett. Whoever wins, I'll be happy to see either way. So we'll have to see.
Good old Pete.
Good old Pete. He's gonna find it out. It's gonna start trending somewhere. He's like, "What the fuck is this mean? What is this? Who is Pete?" But anyway, let's move on to the next match we had in the week. We had JT versus Paul Preston. In a weird way, it seems like to me this was a match I looked at. I'm like, wow, there's no nothing really hanging on this. It's not a tournament. It's not a contenders match. It's
you're fighting for pole position at this point.
It's just like
at least that's what it looks like. It looks like you're fighting for pole position at this point.
That's what it is at this point. But I was actually excited to see this because these two people have been kind of interested. I am completely have to admit that before the year began, when Gucci took JT as like his number three, even not letting him go to the draft, like drafting, I was like, wow, that's a strong statement, and I didn't know if he was ready because he's been out of the league for a while, and I didn't know if the game had changed. And I publicly said that. I called him. I'm like, I don't know. This is a smart move. Well, Ali Crow, he's done everything he's needed to do. I mean, he's definitely been the stronger player on the Rushmore team. He's definitely been great that way. And
Rogue is employing like the old man strategy of taking a nap during round 2, which is weird. I don't know why he's doing that.
Yeah, that was the whole nap thing. I was like, I guess he needs to get that energy back in somehow. He doesn't have the energy.
Rogue, you need a Red Bull, you need a coffee, caffeine pills. Like, what's going on?
I know it's a live
I don't know.
At
I don't
night.
know if that would be good for his heart though.
That's true. It's not going to take Red Bull. We'll get you some green tea. He'll be fine.
The whole live pay-per-view that late at night, it was just way past his bedtime already. That's the problem. So,
yeah.
I want to shout out, "Hey, Roka, Matt walks on." Wake right up.
Oh shit!
Fucking murder she wrote.
Yeah, that's how that went.
But I mean, I'm gonna say, Paul, you're not the only one who has to eat crow on that, because a lot. I mean, I would probably say the majority of people was like, wait, they're using a signing on JTE instead of the draft, and he came in and he just shut all of us the fuck up.
Yeah, he's done his job and done it right. That's all you can. He's done everything you can ask of him, and I get a chance again to root against Paul Preston. Now, Paul Preston. I love Paul Preston. I do feel like he's just one of those guys that he can't ever get a break. He just seems to like, he's a smart guy. I think he said he's starting to study now, and he always seems to know a lot of his answers. And he even proved in this one it was a pretty good game for him, and yet he still can't finish it off at the end.
He's in that same boat as Janine and
Janine was
Adam Witt. Like they just can't. You know that they know their stuff, but they are just not quite getting there, and it's frustrating.
I feel like Preston could still any year like just go on a run and finally hit that top tier level if he is studying like he says he is. He definitely has that base knowledge, but he's got to prove it. He's got to make it happen somehow. You know, that's just what.
Why is this asshole here?
Oh, I have a guest in here. Are you coming on, Dylan?
Hold on, let me get rid of the fucking overlay. You're bringing him on.
I didn't realize this was going to happen. It's one of C2A's own. It's one of C2A's own. I haven't been on screen with him for a while.
Oh boy, who is it going to be?
Dylan. Now, Dylan, we have a guest here. I don't know if you're coming on just to ask Chance to be on No Chill. I don't know if that's what you're doing here, but you can wait till afterwards to do that.
No, I'll wait until after. Don't worry. Chance seems like he'd be a good sport about that. But. No, we're talking about JTE and Paul Preston, and I'm the only person who has JTE on his fantasy roster. You think I'm not going to be here? Every day I keep racking up surprise points. He was an 8th round pick. Everybody forgot about him.
Including everybody except for Gucci and you. You and Gucci have something in common. How does that make you feel?
I don't know. I have a drug problem or something. That's probably it.
Look at that. Hey, it's that guy from Twitch Tuesdays. He actually does on our channel too occasionally. You know, that's what's
I do stuff other times. Chance, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty right. Crashing your scene. Sorry, this is the Chance show featuring C2A members. Carry on, guys.
I mean, it is. Any show I'm on is the Chance show.
Any show you're
That's
on.
how it goes.
Of course.
Well, let's talk real quick. I do have a scene beforehand, which we had a lot of scenes this week. But it's kind of funny. It seemed like most of the scenes were either like just basically pre-promos rather than actually advancing any kind of storyline, except maybe the Mike and Grace one. I don't know. Then I have to ask you about that, Chance. How you felt about Mike maybe considering something maybe more than he should. What did you feel about that?
I mean, I don't think it makes any sense for Mike to leave right now. I mean, the dude's played 3 matches for Corruption this year. He's won 3 matches for Corruption this year. I don't see a reason why he'd want to leave at this point.
But
like, we got him 3 titles, at least 3 titles. I think, well, depending on whether you count the time with Ken and Grace. Since Ken and Grace, he's won 3 titles under us. Mm-hmm. About to win 4. So him leaving at this point, just to me, wouldn't make any sense to me. He could do it, and I'd be like, huh? Okay, you do you, boo. I'm stay here, do my thing. But yeah, no, Mike leaving to me just I don't think it's possible at this point. Things have to go really south in both Shimoda and his personal life for Mike to leave Corruption.
Personal life, that's true.
Personal life especially.
Well, there is only one star on that wrapper, so I don't know if that means anything to him or not. But.
No, I'm glad we're talking about this because Chance, you're just as much a fan of the show as you are like a great participant in it. So, from you seeing this angle, and obviously it impacts you pretty heavily considering it's your partner and faction mate. But as a fan, like you sit here and you're wondering, and there's this aspect of sitting here and saying like, if it wasn't me and my team titles giving up on the line and my faction mate part of this. Would you want to see Mike move out of this? Because, there's an argument to be made in this new era that kayfabe is so pending on the factions, and now we kind of got to play it all by ear.
So I guess if it's like take myself out of the equation.
Yeah, take yourself out. Is this a good way to change it up? Like, would you want to see this as like?
I think if you're going to have someone leave Corruption, I think Mike leaving would easily be like the biggest point of intrigue because you're leaving a faction you started. Like that's kind of amazing. What are you going to do with that? Because this has been your brand for not only has it been your brand for several years,
right?
It's what propelled you into like the top tier Shimoda competitors. Because look, people thought Mike Connick was okay before Corruption happened, but as soon as that happened, he became a star in the Shimoda. So I could buy anybody leaving Corruption. I could buy Adam leaving. I could buy Maris leaving. I could buy myself leaving. I could buy anyone leaving except for Mike.
Yeah.
That happened and be like, oh, okay, well, where's this going?
So, honest question. Do we have to blame Adam Gertler for the formation of Corruption?
There's a lot of blame. So there's a lot of blame you can go around. So you can blame Adam Gertler. That's one. You can blame Team Action because if they hadn't destroyed Mike, you wouldn't have turned
Mike's soul.
You can blame the poor managing by both Roxy and Johnny LaQuasto at the time. Ooh. You can blame the weather on that day because it was very hot. I'm assuming. You can blame the freezer was it was broken. Mike didn't get his ice cream cone.
I'm hearing none of this is actually Mike's fault though, and that's such a pro-corruption thing to spin.
None of this is Mike's fault. He is a victim of circumstance, and I will hear no different.
I get it.
You are a true partner, sir.
Ride or die. Can't believe that.
Undying conviction from that. But that's what you want out of a partner, though, so I don't blame you for it. Chance is coming in.
That's true. But, all right. So, getting back to this one, we actually had the scene before, which is actually kind of a funny one. Like JT versus Kate and the McMuffins bit. I was abused. JT.
I didn't like that.
I think JT was amusing, if anything else, so it amused me enough. Yeah. But I do want to see some more storyline come back. I'm hoping to see more scenes that are kind of going somewhere instead of kind of stagnant a little bit this week. Good stuff still, but I want to see more about what else is going on behind the scenes and stuff. But anyway, in the match itself, JT comes in, and he missed a couple in first round, missed number 2 and number 3. So obviously he's playing from behind a little bit. I was actually surprised he missed the year release update of Last Starfighter, Gremlins, and Dune. That one threw me that he missed it because I feel that's something that was right in his wheelhouse. But it does happen. It's happened. All the greats have those misses, especially under the lights, so to speak. But Paul Preston does what he does, and he gets a perfect round, and even gets the bonus points. So he's in that situation that Parker was in. He's up. JT was ready. He didn't seem rattled. Of course, at this point, like Chance said, down by was it 2?
3.
3 after the 3 because of the bonus question.
Yep, bonus.
in a singles league, that's still not insurmountable. But I really kind of felt like Paul Preston was finally going to have his day. I kind of felt like that. Like, this seems like this is Paul's day. When you get it perfect around, you're like, this is where it's going. But yet, here we go. We go to round 2. We got new releases. And how do you guys think about this? This round 2 go with these guys, with JT and Preston? I've been talking for a while, so why don't you take over for a little bit? What were you guys thinking?
I defer to Chance. He's the star here. I want to hear.
All right, that's it. No, yeah, I mean, Paul did well in that situation. Momentum's on his side. You get to category. It's new releases is always, for me personally, it's always a good one to take because it says it's pretty fresh. It's been in the news recently. It's been in the theaters, or been on streaming as of this how this works. I do think that I like the way new releases is being structured this year because a lot of it feels like a harder category this year because like you have to really like pay attention and be like really into the indie scene, which I am. So because like a lot of movies you won't recognize, like Relic, like I had never thought a year like we get. Normally, I mean, we never get asked about, but because of 2020, like we need new releases. Okay, what do you want? But no, yeah, he played it well, 7 out of 8 points, and he keeps the train rolling. But JT came back too.
Halle Berry, yep. Sadie both actually did the same. Yeah. They both checked on it multiple once. Yeah. On their fourth question. I'm actually going back real quick to the new releases thing. I feel like that's kind of a weird thing with the whole new releases. Obviously, you mentioned it. Like it's obviously we're in a pandemic. We're seeing all the new releases. But like since everything's like streaming now, it's almost like I know the PJ gives you a list of what is eligible and what's not eligible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But still, I feel like that's kind of hard to like keep in your head.
Well, you have like the general rule of like how to determine if a movie's eligible or not. In that, it's I'm fine. I don't think it's like a big secret. So it's either something that was made for theaters and then distributed by a streaming service because of the pandemic, or something that had a big Oscar push that usually determines its eligibility when it comes to Schmoedown. As of right now, that could change in the future. But no, yeah, like, that's something you need to keep in mind because like a lot of these movies for Netflix that like you just like ignore because like I like a lot of people I'm way less driven to watch something if it's on Netflix. I don't know what it is. I'm just way less like I will go out to a theater to see something. It's on Netflix. I'm like I'll push it off and I won't watch it. But yeah, you need to be like especially now, right? Since this slice of the wheel that can come up, you need to be conscious of that.
That's exactly what it is, and what you say makes that's an interesting point to me. Because like, how do you? It's hard to quantify that. Like you say a movie that was made to be released in theaters. I mean, theoretically, the big ones. Wonder Woman 84 is obviously made to be in theaters.
Wonder Woman 84, Tenet,
all those kind of things. Yeah. But
not even theaters, straight IMAX. Get your audio shit fixed, says no one to the world.
What did they say? What did they say in the scene on the boat? Okay, I lose. I don't know.
They said
recite line for line all the dialogue on the boat. I quit.
Correct.
Nothing from Dark Knight Rises onward.
Just say and correct.
No, literally everything. It is like a series of just like drowning out, just both just background noise and just organs like Interstellar. Wow. Wow.
But so like those things are easy, but like there's other movies that come out that are like kind of like, well, I don't know if that was necessarily going to be in the theater or not. But I mean, I guess you got to just play by it and hope a little bit. I mean, he gives you a list of some kind, I believe. So
we all got a list at the beginning of the season
guidelines. So
stuff that's probably going to come up and like stuff that could potentially come up. And then now things are coming back to normal. Like we have a better grasp. Like okay, yeah, so this is eligible. This is this. Like now theaters are coming back. Like new releases it doesn't seem as tricky anymore.
Right.
But yeah, like for that entire stretch of 2020, it can be challenging if you weren't really tapped into the movie scene for that year.
I still feel like next year's gonna be weird when they start asking Oscar questions in the next couple of years.
Oh yeah, because you have like the whole pushback
for March or whatever. It's like
when did. Well, like Judas Black Messiah is a weird one because that's a 2020 movie,
right?
That like they so wanted that to come out like right before Oscar eligibility, they pushed it back.
Yep,
to coincide with the cutoff date.
So that's going to definitely be interesting for the question writers and for the studying as that goes. But all right, so we go into round 3, and they both they do their damage. I was impressed when JT pulled the. Was a question the New York question because he didn't seem like he was like there. He couldn't. I didn't know if he was like faking it or not. But I mean, it's kind of a good guess anyway because he even said it doesn't have gangsters in it obviously. So got to eliminate half of Scorsese's filmography right there. So you go through it. but he does pull it. He does pull it.
Yeah, you're just like strike all the action movies, strike all the religious movies.
Right, exactly. And he does make the pull and push it. And then Paul Preston gets his question. And I have to tell you, I've been singing Paul Preston's praises and everything else. I thought he had this because this to me is like completely right in the center of his wheelhouse. He's a little bit older. And he lived through the 80s. Red Dawn was a big 1984 movie and everything else. And so I thought he had it. And then he said Michael Ironside. And I was like, oh, no. But I totally get why he says that. Because they are very similar actors. And I love me some Michael Ironside. I love anytime Michael Ironside's mentioned because he doesn't get mentioned hardly at all in this Schmodown, really. He's just a big supporting kind of guy. But it's funny, JT was on the Gucci verse, I think, afterward or something. He mentioned it. And he actually thought for a second, he's like, wait, was it Michael Ironside? Like when he answered it. So he didn't know when he won. But it did end up being Powers Booth. And he lost, and so Paul Preston loses again. And he's one of those guys I feel bad for. It hurts when I watch him time after time from close. But to his credit, he still runs out there. He's got to say, like, time's got to be on his side at some point. It's got to turn, right? Doesn't it have to turn at some point?
Oh yeah, absolutely. At some point it will. Like, I felt that was impressive because I literally played this exact match when I played the Biani 2 years ago in the single match. Like, I got every question right with multiple choice once in round 2. I was perfect until the 5. And then I just got something I didn't know wasn't my wheelhouse. But no, yeah, I mean, if you play this game, if you're that good, you play this game enough times, it's gonna balance in your favor at some point.
Yeah. No, I think it's interesting that it feels as though like JTE's comeback run definitely feels really heavy like Oyama's first run in the Schmodown, where he gets in these crazy type matches. And the thing that I remember just every single Oyama match towards the tail end, chance your match included, was that the pressure was always on the opponent. If they got their 5, you guys win the match. You know, in your match with Oyama, you get your 5, he wins his match. This is 2 matches in a row. Goddard was the same way. I think was that he was 1-5 off if he had gotten his 5. He wins the match over JTE, if I recall correctly. So we're just seeing this line back up and this isn't a slight against JTE, but he's skirting by. Like, I mean, he's winning. Like, he's still playing the match. He's getting his 5. He's doing everything he can. So he's a real player, as my fantasy roster shows, from being an 8th-round pick with the 2nd pick on that one. But, dude, like, it's crazy seeing it come down to multiple times in a row where you're starting to see that, it's on the opponent to sit there and snag that 5. Like, that, when it's out of your hands in that way, that's the one where I'm like, shit, I don't know. Do we just history repeat itself and he just keeps getting himself to a title match by out 5 pointing them? I mean, that's not a terrible way to get a title, all things considered, though.
Justin Square actually quotes that's true. This is what Preston said. Compare me to Janine. She's done this losing for 4 years. I have 2 more to look forward to. What a treat.
Preston, man. Oh, my God.
At least he keeps his sense of humor. That's what I got to love about him. He does. So he's always a thrill to watch, always fun to watch. I hope he does stick around. I hope he doesn't let it get to him too much and we get to see him back. As he is. He's due to win at some point, hopefully. This year, so.
I know. I mean, there was the joke being made earlier that it's like Harper is the den at this point, and I'm just like, man, but like, how can you not see those performances against JTE, which is just cleaning out the den who isn't Star Wars players? And it's just like, dude, like, you can't watch those matches and not feel like, all right, like, that's the game, though. I mean, Chance, especially for you, it's like you're watching that. You can't tell me that's not just like, oh, that's the game, baby. What are you going to do, you know?
That is true.
All right. Well, there we are. We're done with that week. Now we'll go into the big pay-per-view match, which really lived up to its billing. We had 2 strong matches with 4 strong competitors, and it went all live. It was all live and all.
It's awkward, bizarre glory.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. We do have Paul Oyama versus Ethan Irwin first. I was ready for this match in all the worst way because these are some of my favorite competitors to watch, and having them go up against each other, it feels like it's like the young buck who he's a gamesman. He knows how to strategize, and you have the old lion who doesn't need to strategy. He's actually one of the few people who really don't need to study because he just knows so damn much. It does hurt him occasionally.
He just goes in. It's like he just goes in place.
And not only that, you cannot shake him. Like I know Bateman Bateman loves the mental games, loves tossing barbs, and he can get under people's. He's not going to get under Irwin. Irwin could give a fuck. He's just
Bateman's excited, but he's shaking because he knows that like half the game plan is out the window. He's like, it's a purely numbers game with Ethan. Like you're not going to do it.
He'll be like, oh, you're cute. And he'll just like whatever. He just either knows it or he doesn't, and he acts the same way. He's unflappable.
This how Ethan reacts to like Ben like it's
right.
Exactly what
I mean, can you imagine being called Ben the Boss Bateman playing against Ethan Irwin? like just by like the title alone being the boss, and it's like, you know who we're talking to, right? Like head us over a picture.
Right. like, look at his fucking IMDb.
I know.
Like,
although amusingly enough, if you guys don't remember, it's actually technically Big Time versus Big Time.
It's true.
That was Ben's first name in the showdown.
Was that really his first name?
Yeah, his first that was going to be Ben.
It's like Chandler's first name, the Zeitgeist, where it's like you forgot.
Right.
Someone needs to have the forgotten nicknames from Schmoedown.
We got to have that strategy. We'll have to get that done. We'll go through a whole list of all the forgotten nicknames of the change.
Hey, Leo Logan, if you're watching, put that on the Schmoedown wiki.
Yeah, big time, the Zeitgeist, the Shark.
Unrelated, can we also get like a hip hop name writer or like one of those name generators for like hip hop artists, but for Schmoedown people? Because it just feels like anything like that. Like we need to get the Wu-Tang Clan generator.
Oh, the Wu-Tang generator.
Right. Like we need that for Schmoedown, as random as some of the stuff seems from. Like,
you know what? Do that as like a stream like for money. It's like, hey, we're gonna do the stream all night. We're gonna do all those competitors.
Right.
Get their hip hop name.
That's such a good.
But Leo, if you do that, let's leave the wizard off for James White. That one.
James White.
No, what are you talking about? Like this.
He was a white guy. White guy named Wizard.
Chance, I'll tell you about it later, all right? I'm in the South. Me and Jake can give you the whole spiel, okay?
What's controversial at all about a white guy from the South being called the Wizard?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Have you seen Bad Boys 2?
Here we go with that. If you could leave that one off. The last thing I want to say real quick before we get to the match was the other part about being unflappable in terms of facing Bateman and his mind game. He's also unflappable when he misses a question. Like it's not like one of those things where he misses a question. It's like, oh fuck, he doesn't care. He's just like round 2 questions. Oh, I missed it. All right, that's the next one. What's the next one? So you can't ever count on him getting shaken by anything. You just gotta hope he runs into something he doesn't know. But we have Oyama, of course, Oyama and Irwin, and they have their what we would expect. They have the perk rounds. They got the bonus. It's phenomenal. Here's where the match kind of changes, and this kind of becomes an interesting thing. Irwin spins. Oh, this was actually funny, by the way. I didn't even realize this until the second time. I was a little distracted when I watched the first time through. Like they had the wrong wheel up.
Yeah.
Like you just having her like, it's not the right wheel.
I'm like, okay, let's. I want them to do that. Just like switch, like, just kidding. This is the actual wheel.
That'd be kind of funny. Oh, that'd be awesome. Some people would be really pissed. They'd be really
pissed. It had one for like no stakes, like not even fact points on the line. Just like just put a random wheel up there. Like, guess what you're working with, people.
Guess what?
Okay.
Surprise! It's a surprise wheel. But actually, I almost feel like in somebody else's hands, there might have been like a pissing contest or a challenge because like he spins it, and it's only the image. So technically speaking, his first spin was M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, I mean, I spin it again for optics, but it's like one of those things. Like if it went the wrong way, I could see somebody out there going, "Fuck that challenge! I was not a right spinner. That should have been your spin." But he doesn't, especially because he spins opponent's tweets next.
Yeah, that's
I mean, luckily again, it's Irwin. He's like, fuck, I don't care. So he's a good one to have that happen to, I guess. But then Oyama gives him Audrey Hepburn. Which, I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought it was probably a good choice. I thought it was a good choice. At the time, before the run happened.
Given Irwin's track history with classics, I mean, typically I would say that tends to be something outside of his wheelhouse, but at the same time, that's...
Because the Lethal Weapons match...
I didn't think that was a good one.
The Lethal Weapons match did prove that he had a problem with Hitchcock. That's what it was. Him and Guy did not do good around with Hitchcock. So I guess that was the mindset... given what else was on the wheel, which was... Without that wheel, we had Alien and Predator, Star Trek, Hepburn, movie release dates, Shyamalan, Jim Carrey, mystery, 2000s, and monster movies.
Mm-hmm.
All of that on there?
I would give a monster movie straight up. I won't.
Hepburn's not a bad pick.
Hepburn's probably a solid pick. I mean, movie release dates is a solid pick also, but he's the one you can kind of luck through because he's been through the league that much. I kind of feel like he's one he would get a lot of those. But that is another possibility. I mean, I wouldn't give him Star Trek. Obviously, I think Star Trek was probably his, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
that was
we
definitely
heard him saying that it's been Star Trek.
I think Carrie is what I would have done. Because that's just not his. That's not his forte. That's not like his lane.
I don't know if we've seen that enough to know. I see Audrey Hepburn. I feel like because of the Hitchcock, at least is the classic. You can kind of see maybe it's the classic thing, and we know that Paul has been really good in classics outside of like the one match against Bateman.
Spectacular.
That was the worst.
Yeah, outside of the one showing in Spectacular against Ben, like he's been.
Ben is in Paul's this too. With a category as broad as that, even if you're strong in it, you're going to run up against a collection of questions that you just don't know. And that was the case. So that means there's 4 less questions or 5 less questions that he didn't know in the classics category type thing. But obviously he knew Hepburn. I kind of feel like Paul might have put Hepburn on the wheel.
Right. I mean, and that being said, I mean, how many times Hepburn's maybe only been spun maybe once before then? I mean, not that I can recall off the top of my head. Right.
It was
maybe
in the action chat. Nikki, Meggs, and Kelly cleared that up. It's been up there 4 times. And it's been selected twice, I believe.
Twice before this match?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that makes sense. I remember thinking I feel like it got at least once or twice on 4 times.
Oh, Kelly. Yeah, thank you.
4 times. Everyone bombed in Hitchcock's and classics, and I think that was reason for it. Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like,
and that's why, I would agree that so it wasn't a bad choice. But you know what? Irwin proved him wrong for the most part. He did get 3 out of 4. Unfortunately, of course, he did miss one that Oyama stole. So that became a thing. Okay, maybe it's good. Now here's the big part: is Oyama's spin, and he gets movie release dates, and he kept it. Now that's what I want to know about this.
And he doubles down on it after the fact too. He said in the post, he was like, "I would do it 100% of the time."
No, he that's as someone knows, Paul. That's something he would do. If he got that spin 10 times, he would take it 10 times.
Yeah,
because I feel like he is overall usually pretty solid in it. Like he's not quite at the Mance Bateman level, but he's definitely strong in it.
Right.
But actually, even Bateman has been known as saying that even it's one of those categories. Also, you're going to come up with movies that you can't possibly know the release date of every single movie in history. So sometimes it's going to happen. But he did good the first one, but then the second one came out. It was kind of a hard question. Tom Hanks starring in big and what other film? That's always kind of like, I like the way the movie release date questions are being written more now, instead of just being the what year did this come out? What year did this come out? Or what year did these 2 movies come out? In a way, like instead of you're looking for the movie specifically, like you give one film and then you look for the second movie that year. I kind of like it's a toss up. But in this point, that's where it can go awry. Obviously, Paul didn't really realize about Punchline, whereas Irwin, that's kind of right in his. I feel like that's right in his. At his age range, he knew that Punchline was 88, because I knew that Punchline was 88, and I'm about that similar age.
Well, Paul, you were 47 when Punchline came out. Like, of course you're going to know where that's at. But I think that here's the interesting thing, though. I mean, you're right. Like the structure of movie release date questions are definitely getting, both a little bit reverse engineered. Like they're giving you more of like, okay, name the year based on like this actor or this category or the other movie on this one. But movie release dates is not the same category it was even like a season or 2 ago. And after seeing Danger Zone showing, and sure, a couple of times you'll get some of those layup questions that are just, formatted layup, right? It's like, here's the movie, name the year. Like that's the straight up ones. But now that they're getting so methodical, this is for me where I see even Oyama as confident as he is, or even Ben as confident as he is in movie release dates. I'm just like, that's scary. Like it's getting scarier by the second with that category. And that for me is the instant, like whenever he picked on that one, I was just like, knowing that we've just seen some of the best players in those categories get 6 or something, I don't know, 5 or 6 points instead of the 8 anymore, I spin for the 8. Like against Irwin, you have that lead, stay comfortable. But I get it. I mean, Paul's going to be that player. He has faith in himself, and he's where he is, and I am in the peanut gallery over here being where I'm at. But, it's still my thought, right? It's just like, no, I think keeping an eye on categories and seeing the trajectory with how the question writers have been evolving them. A couple of these new ones, that makes sense. You're going to get those layup questions. Movie release dates, it gets scarier every time it gets spun. Like, I wouldn't touch it with a 20-foot pole.
I do wonder, I feel like this might have been a slice that Paul put on the wheel, though. I kind of feel like a lot of people are starting to weaponize it in that way, and that they know everybody's not good at it. If he feels confident enough in it, you don't have to be king in the category. If you go, I know this. If I spin it, I can do well. Other people probably won't, so I can get some steals. It kind of feels like it's a good weaponizing.
I like it better. Right, I like it as an aggressive wheel slice. If he'd given it to Irwin, I would 100% back that. And not to say that Irwin's a slouch on it, but if you're that confident and you know how much rockier this is, then as soon as that drops, you're getting a free point.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing too. I was almost surprised that he didn't get, but I guess again, like I said, Audrey Hepburn was the other choice.
Right, and again, that makes much more sense. He's likely to go multiple choice every single one of those rather than get the one or two and movie release dates.
So the other big question in that round, and ends up being pretty much at this point the tipping point, because obviously he only loses by the one. He has to check down a multiple choice on a question that it felt like he should know, and then maybe this is my age as well, because that happens as well. But what year saw films released in the following franchises: Jaws, Star Wars, Superman, and James Bond? But not only does he do it, he repeats it twice, and then goes to multiple choice. And I feel like this is the multiple choice time where we talked about before. I feel like this checking the multiple choice was I know this, but I only know it 90%, and I don't want to give a 2-point steal away. So he checked down a multiple choice, but this is where that backfires, because that 1 point ends up costing him the game in a way. I mean, you can't say that because obviously the steal happened and everything else happens. You could point out, when in a 1 point loss, you can point out a lot of different things. But at this point, it just seemed like that was the crux of the game. I almost thought at that point that Irwin was going to win after that happened. That was my own thoughts. Because, you look at Star Wars, right, it's got to be 3 years. So it's either 77, 80, or 83. And you break down Superman, Superman didn't come out in 77. And so also you could automatically cut out 77. So then you cut it down to 80 and 83 at that point. You're already down to 2. But at the same time, you also have to do it in 15 seconds. So I get that too. Does anybody else? That was a very interesting question to me. What do you guys feel about that one? I like how it was written. I did like the question.
Yeah, for that one, I'm keying in on both Star Wars and Jaws because those whenever you get franchise questions like that, you always key in on the smaller franchises. That's going to help you narrow it down to years. And yeah, you either know it's 80 or 83, and it's depending on whether or not you're confident to take that shot.
Right.
Which if you're someone who knows these franchises, and the funny thing is I knew that because I knew 83 was the year a lot of threes came out. That was the third Star Wars, third Superman, third Jaws, third Friday the 13th, third Friday the 13th.
Yep.
That was the year of a lot of threes because studios wanted to be cutesy with the release dates. But no, that's just one where if you're not 100% confident, you go into damage control mode where you're just okay, look, I think I know. It's definitely 1 of 2. They're both going to be multiple choice. They're not multiple choice. The other one I'm thinking of is the right answer.
Right.
If they're both in it, I'll take a shot on one. If it's the other, I only give a 1 point steal.
Right. So it definitely makes sense. Although at the same time, hindsight means fuck, I should have just gone for it. I wonder if he does think that after making this, it was probably a smart decision, but at the same time after I should have just fucking gone for it, and we would have been in sudden death.
Yeah.
My train of thought with some of the decisions with Oyama on at least that one specific question is honestly, this is, I don't know, behind the scenes thinking of if I'm a manager, I'm reminding Paul, listen, play it risky as hell. You've got a title shot whenever you want, sitting there however you want.
That's true.
If you're gonna sit there, put it pedal to the metal. If you
he is playing with house money at this point.
Exactly right. He's playing with house money at this point. He's got his bill already paid for. All point, it's free. I say play it risky as hell. If he just totally tanked the match, going crazy risky with it, he's cool. I'll see you when you get that title, Irwin. That's for me. I'm I wanted to see more of that risk because he had that the rope to sit there and jump off the cliff with it, so to speak.
But unfortunately, he didn't. And that, of course,
also
that's a good point.
Fuck you.
Don't insult our audience like that. It's a very good question.
Our audience. It's a fucking quiz show.
Round 3 happens, of course, and obviously the 2 questions were pretty easy. 3 questions were mostly pretty easy. And the 5 points come, and Paul has I thought it was solid. I mean, maybe I'm just out of the loop. I didn't know Synchronic myself. I didn't know that one yet.
It's a good movie. Check it out.
I do want to.
Watch that and their other movie, The Endless. The Endless is awesome.
Okay, I definitely will because I love sci-fi stuff anyway. So, but he got it. But he was able to pull it, and then shit. There you go, Jake. Now Jake's playing John Cena again. So Erwin gets the DiCaprio question, which I've heard some people say, "Oh, it was an easy question." Or whatever. I mean, I guess I understand where you're coming from. Obviously, DiCaprio only has so many films, and you have to put him which one were in the time frame that Robert Kennedy was alive, kind of thing. So he got it pretty easily. I mean, Paul obviously knew it right away. As soon as the question was ready, he was like,
"Yeah."
He was like, "Shit."
Yep, it's over. How does that feel? How does that feel? You're like, you go to the 5-pointer, and you're like, okay, if they get this 5-pointer, they win. If they get this, they lose. And then you hear the question, and you know it right away. You're just kind of like,
I've been in situations where I'm just like, okay, all they gotta do is fumble this question, and we're golden. You hear the question, like, shit.
They ain't fumbling that shit.
They're not fumbling this. We're done.
Chance, do you feel like they know it right away if you know it, though? Because that's something that even Preston and JTE were going about in their match. Like, when JTE was going through the Scorsese films, Preston even says afterwards, like, when he nails it, he's just like, best actor ever. And you know just Preston knows it in the back of his head. So he's just, is that, like, just an always thing? You're just like, if I know it, they definitely know it. Like,
it depends on the category. It depends on the category, really, because, like, if it's something that's not, like, it's not, like, super my wheelhouse. Like if it's like a general category and like I get super fast, yeah, they're gonna get this. But if, like, say it's like something like one of my strengths and I get it really quickly, I'm not counting on them to have that same response.
Right.
So yeah, it all depends on what the category is gonna be.
Is there more respect if they get it in your wheelhouse? It's the Leo political. Do you feel like you have more respect for them if you get it? That's something that's like definitely your wheelhouse, and you're like, I didn't know you were that deep in my neighborhood. Like,
yeah, if someone pulls like a deep Pixar 5 that like. I'm like, oh yeah, see, they're not gonna get it. And they pull up, like, oh wow, respect. Because,
right.
Because I know people can pull that question, but no, yeah, like that does have that respect factor. They can do that.
I was pulling it up. Yeah, Dean saying it was the only Leo political throw in 2010, but it was a good question. It was a good question. It was still a good question. Either way, I got all respect in the world of PJ. I just to know how he feels, and him and his team are doing a phenomenal job this year. They're giving directions. They follow the directions, and they've come out with some great fun questions this year. I've been really, really happy.
Yeah, if only you would do a phenomenal job in the FCL. I don't know.
Motherfucker. All right. Bye, Jake. Anyway, so back.
Hey, it's me, Jake Iacovetta, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Much better looking than.
Fuck that.
Better back over. All right, so let's go on past the Oyama Irwin match. We move on to the main event, which was definitely a main event in all ways, shapes, and forms. We obviously had some heated words and feelings leading up to this match. Bateman kind of thought he was going to win pretty easily because the Roca hadn't been playing that well compared to JT and everything else. But Roca came in all hands on deck, as it were, and played the match of his life in a way. He played one of his best matches he's played in a long time. He took the sunglasses off. You saw the whole screen of him, like just all full on the screen, like really focused and everything else. He had the cowboy hat on. Did fall asleep per round. Maybe that's what it was.
He turned his mic all the way down and was doing the Asmer video the entire time.
I was wondering if that was going to be a ploy. Is that like you have to really lean in to hear what he's going to say?
Actually, honestly, that's my preference for Roca from now on. I won't lie to you. That's ideal, Roca.
We're getting the ASMR Roca from Axis now.
ASMR Roca from now on. So sunglasses off and then mic off. That's what happened.
Hey, Cam.
I do want to say the first thing about this match, though, was the promo by Nerd Chronic. Wow.
That's honestly the best one I've seen from him.
Yeah,
he's done a lot of great promos. Probably the best one I've seen from him in a really long time.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a movie? Yeah.
I was like the best since Houston for me. The best since the
yeah. I was going to say the same thing. The Houston one up until this was the best, but this is it's a contender.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long one, but I never felt. I was like, I want there to be even more. But the best part about it is two things. A, somebody mentioned it. because they've been in the league for such a long time, we had so much of the live moments with them, the live, even live in the studio and live entertainment. It just felt more exciting again because we know we're going back to that soon. We're getting there's the teases of the Schmodown in New York in October, maybe. Of course, Spectacular. It seems like
Spectacular, almost guaranteed.
It was guaranteed at that point. You know it's coming. Just talk about
it's like now. I'm not gonna guarantee anything because I don't have that kind of power. But it's like a 90. If I had to guess, as long as I'm looking, it's like a 95% thing, which is good odds.
Yeah. Oh yeah. At this point, absolutely. And you're talking about Spectacular, or.
Spectacular.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
I'm not commenting on the New York show.
No, that's a chance leak, everybody. Put hashtag chance leaks and tweet that out at Movie Trivia Showdown right now. I'll call that.
No, but either way, we know it's coming. But it's kind of the great reminders we've missed for a long time. So seeing all those in the promo helped it out as well. But then again, you realize how long these guys have been going against each other in various formats with Team Action and Top 10. And then Ben and then Ben joining the Horsemen and off the Horsemen. What a long road this has been. And I'm always surprised that it's actually only their second match against each other, like one-on-one. But either way, I got hyped. I mean, it's funny that they forgot the promo. They brought Roka on first, and then they played the promo.
Right.
But Christian's face and Mark's face kind of said it all. Even they were just kind of like, damn, that was good. Damn, that was good.
Oh, Dirt Chronic. Oh, he got me again.
Was it good for you?
Yeah.
Now I got to get a match show, but hopefully the match show will live up to that. Luckily, it does.
Everybody else's promos. Chance, I want your title promo match against Shazam. I want you to be like, I want what they were having for those promos.
I'll text Eric right now and be like, hey, I'll show Shazam. Better be fire.
Right.
One thing about this promo that I really loved, I mean, other than all of it, was at the end when he had the names come in with like the letters coming around. Mm-hmm. Like we haven't had, that was the first time we've had that.
Yeah,
and
nice little touch.
I thought that was pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
It seemed like a title fight. It seemed like, I mean, we got to realize this is like, it's a match to get to a number one contenders match. Yet it felt like it was like a spectacular championship match. That's kind of how hyped the promo got. But luckily, the match did pretty much live up to its billing. They went toe to toe. Ben actually said it, and if you want to hear, I'll push this now anyway. After we're done, go check out Action Industries did the Action Guys earlier tonight, and Ben, after a lot of donations and they were drinking a lot, but they actually broke down the entire match. And Ben mentioned how like his whole idea or his strategy as part of that thing was, wait for Roka to miss one in round one, like he's been doing a lot or something, and he'd go in on him. And that's when he would do it. But he couldn't because Roka didn't miss. So he got to the point where you can't. It took Ben's strategy out of it. So he was like basically cut off. He just had to play his game, and Roka played his game. They both went perfect in round one. They both got their bonus. They got their spins in. And I'm in the wrong thing now. They got their spins in. What about
get your shit together, Paul?
I got it. I just had to turn the page. Fuck you. I need to lose my time. Suck my dick. Roka gets 90s, and when Roka hit 90s, I was pretty okay, well, that's something he's lived through pretty heavily. So
he was 30 in the 90s. That tracks.
There's a little generous. 50s.
We're trying to be nice. We don't want him pissed off at us again.
Paul was 52 by then, so it's fine.
At least 52. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
I haven't got to be on screen with Paul in a while, so I haven't got to roast him in a bit. So this is just me teeing off on
do what you do.
Get it all in. Drink it in. This is why April 12th.
Continue.
But he had some great questions. Actually, I thought he had one sort of difficult question. I was like, oh, that's a good pull. About the superhero actor in Remains of the Day being Christopher Reeve. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that Christopher Reeve was in that. So I was like, that was impressive to me. That Roka was kind of pulling some of that stuff. I was like, hey, he's doing his job. I can't argue with that. And then Ben spun Sean Connery, and I was kind of like, there's some tricky Sean Connery questions. And I honestly admit I was a little worried for Bateman at that point. How are you in Sean Connery, Chance? What are your thoughts of that bit of category?
I feel pretty confident with Sean Connery. I mean, I've seen a good amount of his movies. He's got a wide ass filmography.
Right.
Dude is a phenomenal actor. But yeah, I love the guy, and God, he's got a good Scottish brogue.
Chance, outside of Sean Connery's Bond, how do you feel? Because I know that Mike's kind of got that.
I
on
actually
for you
feel better outside his Bond than I do in his Bond.
I would believe that though. I mean, when you got Mike as a partner, I feel like you're just like, why would I study that? I'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Right. Yeah.
You just cursed him.
You're the man now, dog.
Yeah.
You're the man now, dog. What are you talking about? Of course I'm Russian.
I am upset. I will tell you right now, Sean Connery getting spun and a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen question that was extremely too hard was not asked in there, and I'm so upset. Every time I was...
Also, Bateman not even attempting to do the accent. What the hell, man?
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I did. Yeah, I was going to yell at him about that. Because,
Come on, Bateman.
Could at least once.
Come on, Bateman. Give me your impression.
Come on, Bateman. It ain't a dog. Anyway, so, all right, we get to the end of round 2. We're still in the same place. They're both perfect. Like, who's going to blink first? Bateman and Roca gets Oscars, which I'm like, oh, Ben wanted that, but he gets it. It was an easy question. Bateman got his action venture, solidly easy question. And then Roca hits musicals. Now, at this point, obviously, I'm not gonna lie, I was obviously rooting for Bateman, about being a dungeon guy and everything else. I'm watching it, and musicals happens, and I'm like, ooh, that could be something that Roca could get maybe tripped up on. But then it was like it was a surface, like, it was the Greatest Showman question.
Hell yeah, it was the Greatest Showman. Such a good movie.
Yeah, goddamn right, Greatest Showman.
It's so good. It's so good.
That's a pretty good. He's got that one. And then Ben this is the pull of the night for me for Ben, because he gets scores and soundtracks, and not ever been anything that's in his wheelhouse. But I'm like, okay, but he's not bad at it. He's not bad, but he's not great. But then the question was who composes scores for Gremlins and Poltergeist. Ben has been kind of known for not knowing a lot of 80s. Like, he's a little weaker in 80s and other things. And it comes down to combining scores and soundtracks with those movies. I was like, this could be the tipping point. But then he took his time, like he does. He repeated, and he pulled Jerry Goldsmith. So I was like, that's good for Bateman. I mean, I knew that, but this was something I was ready. I thought might trip him up, and he got it. I was excited about that. That's true. Chris said I did watch this match with Chris Anthony Lopez. We got to watch every Bateman match. I was a little nervous for him. On
the same podcast, I refused to watch a match with him after seeing Bateman lose on the fucking Snowpiercer question. Like, I know we've talked about this already, but no, I refused. I'm like, I'm not watching any matches with Paul. If they ask anything at Harris, I leave. This is spectacular. I'm already back in Kentucky. Like, I'm out.
I don't even want to be here right now. You don't need PLD in your life.
Jake, you know what?
What
Jake,
the fuck?
You don't have to be here. I can just do this with Chance and Dylan. You can go home. It's fine.
That being said,
you begged me to be here.
It's true. I only came on because Chance is here and because I like messing up Jake's overlays. So that's like
I made another one. Shit.
I know. I'm just gonna leave halfway through this match review too, just to keep.
Oh, you motherfucker!
We're almost done here. You leave now. Anyway, so Roca hits 2000s, and he gets the Annapolis question, and I kind of thought he knew it right away, because it seems like it's one of the things I don't talk to. I think it was Matty Gunner, a couple other people. Like if it's a Naval Academy.
Who?
I think it was Matty Gunner. Yeah, Sons of.
Where's it at, Jake? Where's it at?
There it is. Fuck. There it is.
A couple of people. There's Matty Gunner. Also, I think it was Chris actually in there too as well. And when it's a Navy movie, it tends to be, you're talking about Navy and sports, it tends to be more boxing, especially from the tournaments. That seems to be a big to do. And Roca seems to be a big military movie kind of guy, so we're kind of like, okay, he's got this. He doesn't pull it. So we're like, okay, this is Bateman's chance now. Bateman gets the martial arts category. Right away.
Yeah, Jesus.
Ooh.
Right away, I'm like, martial arts. It's funny because martial arts is an action adventure, but Bateman's not the big martial arts guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's odd to me. Like,
I
know, right?
Look, Bateman, you may want to consider some rebranding. I know you're like the action guys. Maybe want to consider just like crossing that off. Be the Oscar guys.
I'll tell you right now.
Be the release date guys.
2 words.
Anything but action.
2 words. Asian bias. Asian bias.
Well, hey, you know what? That's right, because Andrew Guy whipped him in.
Yeah, Guy knows.
This guy knew all the martial arts stuff. He knew everything. He's like, motherfucker, how could you get that wrong? So he gets the question. Although it is funny, I felt like Lance Hendrickson It's about Lance Henriksen playing Wolf Fushan in what 1993 film. I looked it up afterwards. Lance Henriksen was in 7 movies in 1993. That's
he worked a lot.
Okay, Nick Cage. Okay, Samuel L. Jackson. I see you.
All right, Ed Harris. I see you.
Right.
Fair enough. But he does that, and he repeats it. I actually thought he was going to get it, because I kind of felt like he looked like he was doing it. And he actually pulled off. He goes with surviving the game, which isn't a bad answer. It's the wrong answer, but it's like the same time frame, same basic plot of movie. They're hunting soldiers in the woods and stuff like that. So it seems like I get it, but at the same time, it was like as soon as it's surviving the game came out, I was like, oh, it's hard target. Fuck, come on, and there it is, and we're into sudden death, and that's what it's like. Okay, who's going to have it in sudden death? Now, Roka has not been great in sudden death, so that gave me hope. Gave me hope at that point.
Chance, how is Roka in sudden death? How is he?
I can vouch from personal experience. Not very good. Just a quick one. Has Roka ever won a match in sudden death?
I don't think
he has.
No, I can't ever recall.
I can't recall a match where he's won in sudden death. I think every single match he's gone in sudden death, he loses.
Yeah, I think that's right. Because let's face it, Roka's always been kind of like he's always gotten one wrong the first round too, and that's what basically it is.
Right.
The first round all over again. He always tends to miss one every once in a while. The Iron Man match is not kind of his thing. So when it's one and done, you're going to lose that way.
I feel like Roka's always been more of a round 3 player more than a round 1 player. Yeah. So I mean that's going to make sense that he probably does get tilted more on that. I don't know. Chance, here's the point. Tweet it at Roka. Have you ever won a match in overtime? He'll tell you right away if he has. No worries.
I feel like I should text him the StreamYard link.
Kelly's saying Ben hasn't either until this one. That's interesting. I didn't even realize that.
Oh, that's true. He hasn't.
Yeah.
I can't remember what other match was that he was in sudden death.
Dan, the second
one,
time.
Right, the second
Dan 2.
No, first time.
Was there another one?
No. Dan 2.
It was Dan 2 because it was online, and then
no. Dan 2 he lost because he went to 5.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Dan 1 Atlanta,
right,
and he lost. I'm trying to think of other Bateman sudden death. I think that might be the only one.
That might be the only one. Yeah,
maybe.
Kelly, you might know more than I do.
He talked about that on Action Guys.
The fourth.
We're
talking about Patriots.
Yeah.
I guess maybe Dan Atlanta. That's what he said. Yeah, Dan Atlanta.
Yeah, very sure that's it.
Okay. Well, either way. So we're set up for an Iron match. I did think at this point it definitely led me to believe that Bateman was favored at that point.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, okay, let's see what happens. They both got the first question, and they both got the animated question. I'm like, ugh.
Rip. Everybody's dead.
Everybody's dead.
Pants dripping at home.
I'm watching. I'm waiting for y'all to fuck this up.
Right.
This could be an easy put away, but y'all are gonna mess this up.
Yep, they did. They both got it wrong. I mean, at least Bateman got somebody in the same movie, I think. But
he did. Yeah, Will Forte's not in that movie.
Right, Will Forte's not. At least there's everyone, but
Bill Hader's at least in it.
Right, that's something.
Yeah.
So we keep going. And then the next question is the one. Now, this was interesting to me and actually pissed me off. We actually did talk about the Action Guys tonight. It pissed Guy off, too. I was annoyed at it. It was a What 2005 mystery thriller, yada, yada, yada. Bateman writes the jacket pretty much right away. He kind of like puts it that you can see he writes it and everything else. And Roka's doing nothing the whole time. Nothing. 5, 4, 3. Roka has no repeats left because he used the repeat last time. 3, 2. And all of a sudden, Ben Bateman goes, repeat the question. And I'm like, Roka didn't write anything.
Yeah.
You wrote right away, so you obviously had a gut instinct on it. You're giving him free time to catch up to you. The worst possible scenario in that is that you were wrong and you move on to the next question.
They pointed that out on the Action Unfiltered stream too, right? Like right. I managed to catch this little bit, Paul. You're not as original as you seem. I caught it while doing dishes. I know you got it.
I said it. I
saw you in the chat, Dylan.
Yeah, I stuck in last second, but yeah, no. I mean, it's Guy nailed it though. He was just like he was dead in the water, and you had an answer, and you gave him a chance to come back and at least put an answer on the board. It's just like, but. That being said, I mean, Roka said he didn't have to.
Roka literally said when right as Ben was repeating, he's like, I don't know it. He actually said, I don't know it. Oh. I got it. I mean, luckily, at the end of the day, it didn't matter. It didn't. Ben won. Ben's emotions and everything else. You haven't mentioned the whole night. John Kaiser being John Finstock, being the trash mouth kid.
Yeah.
doing anything he can to make Ben laugh to keep him loose.
You know what? I appreciate this about Kaiser, though. Like, Kaiser, I think there's enough people sit here and, like, on screen have enough criticism about, like, a handful of managers because on screen it just feels like it's like, well, I drafted good players, and now I just talk for a little bit, and then I just banter. But Kaiser's been upping up his entertainment value recently. Like, his characters, I'm like, all right, Kaiser, I see you trying to put, all right, let's do this.
Here's the thing, too. It wasn't just for character's sake. He did it, like, his mindset. He later on said,
right.
He said he just knew that Ben was going to be a little bit, like, tense.
He's going to be tight.
He wanted to keep him loose, make him laugh, keep himself calm, and it worked, because Ben was smiling the whole time.
I want to see Kaiser just do the Greatest Showman. Like, start to finish, Hugh Jackman's songs.
The whole show?
Yeah.
Wow.
The greatest one-man show with Kaiser.
You want me to sit here and say Kaiser's manager of the year? And I already kind of favor him anyway, but you really want me to put him over the top? Give me that, all right, the Greatest Showman chance. Even, listen, I know, like, obvious loyalty to Shannon. Tell me if Kaiser doesn't put out the hour 20 minute.
If he put out the hour and a half Kaiser one-man show special, then he doesn't matter.
You have to give it to him, right?
You have to give it to him.
Kaiser, clip this right here. You're probably already going to get it. But if it starts getting rocky at the end of the year, call up Hugh, get some tips, get that bravado out there, and you're going to get those votes. Hour and 20 minutes, all you need, buddy. Hour and 20.
Let's get the Kaiser version of Cats, and then
that's even better.
You know what? Right. Let Robert Parker beat Ryan, and I'm doubling down.
Someone text Jen and get her on that makeup for the Judi Dench Kaiser Cats fucking character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even watch Kaiser looking up his own hair.
Cats are not dogs.
I won't lie. If I ever see Kaiser in a Cats costume, I'm immediately voting him as my least favorite manager of life. Period. I want nothing to do with that.
But everything, at the end of the day, everything, when you talk about Kaiser being entertaining and being... He stepped out for a minute.
Hold on.
That's right.
There we go.
Either way. But at the end of the day...
There we go.
Oh, motherfucker.
That was just for you. You see about Kaiser being a manager and everything else. His emotion at the end of that was extremely... It was awesome to see. He came on, he was so excited. He even had to turn around, go back to the whatever he had, the shelving unit, and just had to sit there and collect himself. It was great to see that. They obviously had worked very hard to get to that point. And the movie, they are now moving on. And now we get Bateman versus Irwin. I don't know about you guys, but I am very excited to see this match. I think this is going to be a very, very strong match. And similar to the Paul match in a way, in terms of it's a young guy, strategy, gamesmanship. Ben is even more than Paul is as far as the gamesmanship goes. And he has more game. He doesn't just do the insultless games. He has a lot of strategies. They work on behind the scenes for like wheel slices and other things like that. So I do feel like this could be a big test for Irwin. And I feel like it's going to come down to the wheel. It's going to come down to round 2 and what wheel he can get.
Well,
the greatest thing
we know whose balls are on your chin already. So
not yours, that's for sure. Because you don't have any. You're deflated balls, remember?
Are we upset that it's not Jake's? You said that in such a way that it was just like, not yours.
Jake,
how dare he?
Right.
Not have his balls in your chin.
Look at that clean landing strip right there, Jake, in comparison to that rough landing of yours. Just place those balls right on his chin. Come on.
I'm still trying to figure out where the chin meets the neck. What's happening here?
Either way, but it's going to be interesting to see round 2. Like Ben is good at round 2 as far as picking wheel slices and what to give Irwin and what not to give Irwin. I think it's like a toss-up at this point. What are you guys' thoughts on the upcoming match?
I mean, I feel like we're on a path to a foregone conclusion already, because I feel like one of two things is going to happen. Either the likely scenario, I think Irwin beats Bateman and then goes on to play Dan and lose again, because Dan's had his number, especially in 5-round matches.
That's true, very true.
But again, it could happen. Like Irwin's solid player, so I'm not going to bet against him. But it's kind of hard to bet on him, given most recent history with Dan. Or Ben wins and he gets to get spanked by Merrill for a third time. So
I would love to see. I mean, I would love to see either match.
Another possibility, and I just thought of this one that could happen, Oyama could decide to cash in his title shot at this point, make a triple threat.
Could.
Say Bateman wins and you don't want Dungeon to get guaranteed points.
I'm waiting for another triple threat match on the loop, and for Oyama to have immediate runbacks on Irwin and Bateman following that. I mean, I think Oyama has as much heat, like, mentally to be like, oh, taking them both at once would be sweet. But I'll tell you right now, Chance is right. This is a foregone conclusion. Irwin studies for martial arts movies, puts it on the wheel, and it's done. Like,
there you go.
Well, let's be fair. Kaiser did. The first thing Kaiser said after the match was, "We're fucking studying martial arts next week."
Damn right, you should be. Getting rolled by it.
I don't know. I think I got Bateman on that one.
And
I'm not just saying that because it's his birthday. Happy birthday, brother.
It is Ben's birthday. But... Nope, actually, in my time, it's not Ben's birthday. It's Irwin.
Actually, I feel bad for him. He stayed on and talked to the patron, and like he talked to Tim Sim, and the rest. Tim Sim's always the first one out. He I don't know what his deal is.
Tim Sim is already there before those lobbies ever open.
Tim Sim is waiting for the next live event. He's already waiting in the green room for the next live event already.
He's already aligned about tickets.
Good to go.
I've met Tim Sim. I like the dude.
I like Tim. Nothing bad to say about it. I just think it's funny. It's just he's always there. That's all it is. He's good. He's a fun dude.
Chance,
I think I actually met Chance like 30 seconds after I met Tim Sim in Houston.
That's true.
Chance, whenever you go into your like separate waiting rooms in the team matches, is one waiting room just Tim Sim waiting for you and just kind of like, hey, so like, how are you guys doing in the match so far?
It's like, shout Tim in the zone.
Welcome to the Tim Zone, motherfucker.
He's a good dude. He means well, and he does a lot of good work.
We have nothing bad to say about Tim. We love Tim here. Tim's a great guy. I just find it funny. He's always Tim. But either way, Ben obviously he stays in and hangs out with the patron. He ends up missing his flight. He's supposed to spend his birthday in Vegas. He got to the flight. He missed his flight, and it would have cost him like triple, I guess, in order to like rebook it and everything else. So he said,
he said it.
He came home.
What did he say? Like $750 for a flight in the morning.
To like $1,800. It went up to like $1,800 or something like that. Like it was ridiculous. So poor guy to come home and he had nothing to do for his birthday weekend. But that's right. I'm sure he made well. I'm sure he's still actually riding the high of beating Roka. So maybe watch some martial arts.
He got to eat shitty crab cakes with Andrew Guy.
That's true. So that's the match come up. We got obviously Bateman versus Irwin's going to be the next one at that point. I think it's going to be a fun match either way. I think either side could win. Either side. Thanks, Jake.
I don't care if you're talking.
Ooh, I guess not. Ooh, my headphones don't care either. But
good God. Go talk to a gastroenterologist right now. There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you.
All right. You know what? I do have to throw this up there. I'm going to embarrass Chance a little bit, but I got to throw this over here. McLean saying, speaking of Houston, this moment in Houston is one of my favorite sweat-on moments. If you know, you know.
No, if you were there, you know. You were there. Yeah, you literally had to be there because it's not on any footage anywhere.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. We are totally professionals here. Yeah.
Kelsey, I'm on stream. You know that's not true. That's not true at all. And Jake was the one who was the main offender, but it just can't be true with him.
Jesse Swift. Always good to see the Swifter.
Hey,
what up, Jesse?
What's up, Jess?
Good dude. But that's it. That's really the tournaments. We're running out of time here. It's about 2 hours in. So, Chance, thank you so much for popping on. We appreciate you sticking around the whole time, giving us your insights. Definitely had some great insights there. Tell folks where can folks find you?
Twitter, Instagram, Chance _91 right there. It's passing, but it's gonna come back. Right, give me a second.
Just vamp. It's coming.
Right there. There it is. It's right there. There you go. Twitter's gonna Chance Wars _91. Check my podcast, Tours by Chance. We just dropped our episode. We dropped 2 actually this past week, and we dropped our commentary on Master of the Universe, which was a good time, and we dropped our latest episode on 1996 Screen. We had Carrie Lane with Popcorn Talk Network come talk with us. Really, really great, really, really fun review. Go check it out. It's available where podcasts are found. Notorious by Chance, and yeah, that's about it. And watch this Schmodown. Watch me continue to play.
There you go. Dylan, thanks for hopping on unscheduled. I'm always glad to be able to actually get to spend some time with you.
Oh, fuck.
I guess you left. Bye, Chance.
By Chance.
Well, it's good timing, though. That was actually good timing.
I appreciate Chance was like, fuck your whole thing, Jake. I'm out.
It was a computer glitch, and that was good timing. At least he
you gotta go, man.
So Dylan, I'm happy to be able to spend time with you and looking to do it.
Yeah, I know it's good.
So,
it's all right. Now that we're kind of wrapping up, it's a pleasure always being on screen with you. I know we don't get to hang out enough. I'm hanging out with Nat, and and all of the celebrities on No Chill, not on Twitch. We don't do shit on that show.
I'm sorry you didn't get to ask Chance about coming on No Chill, unfortunately.
He'll be okay. He'll be okay.
Okay. All right.
Chance is a little too early right now for it. I don't know if he's ready for No Chill just yet. I gotta
that motherfucker didn't just leave the stream, he left StreamYard like within half a second.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm done with y'all.
I'm done with y'all. Okay, well, Dylan, where can the folks find you, buddy?
They can catch me. Hold on, I'll get you. 1 minute. 1 minute.
Yeah, there it is.
Right there. At CAMACH Octo. Occasionally I tweet. Mostly I retweet my wife whenever she does funny things. She'll get mad at me if I don't. You can also catch me on Twitch Tuesdays, every Tuesday, at varying times, mostly at 8 Central, the true 1 time zone. And then you can catch me about once a month doing No Chill, because me and Nat have to write a whole lot of material for that, and then only 15 minutes of it makes it on there. But that's pretty much all the places you can catch us.
That show
but
is.
Look forward to this next episode, and then look really forward to the next episode after that. That's all I'm going to say. Unless you're a patron.
Okay. Oh, all right, there you go.
All right.
And Jake, where can the folks find you, buddy?
Well, apparently you can find me
I don't
here
care
now.
I don't know where you can find you. Anyway, let's move on to something
no,
more
you
important.
Okay, so
Jake,
apparently you can find me here now.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm a host here.
You've hosted enough times now, Jake. You're just a host now. Like, you just got to own it, buddy.
You're not a guest host anymore. You've been here more than I have.
You're just straight up a host.
Point break.
Yeah, I'm still done with him.
That's fair.
But yeah. Yeah, you can just find me here.
Yep.
You can find me on Twitter, whatever.
I got Paul's plugs. Don't worry about it. We don't need to bring him on. You can catch Paul at Paul_Denuzio. That's actually pronounced Denuzio, but for some reason there's no I. It makes no fucking sense to us either. You can also catch him at PLD anything. Just type in PLD on Google. You'll find him. You can catch him on Action Industries doing all that stuff behind the scenes, where you can always catch him doing anything and everything. You can catch him behind the scenes at FCL as well, and sometimes in the post-game shows. Make sure to catch him all there with all that. And am I missing anything? Oh, we got Rid of the Question coming up here next week. That's coming on. You know that he's going to be on that one. He's going to be on anything Schmodown related, period, because he's fucking cancer on everything. He keeps spreading. He's everywhere. He'll probably be on Schmo Me the Money in like 2 weeks. I don't know. We don't get invited on that. Me and Nat don't anyway. Everybody else does. Put you on blast. I see you.
I've never been on there.
Give it time, Jake. Give it time.
Wow.
I don't think I missed anything, Paul.
No, I think PLD Projects is the name of my YouTube channel.
Oh, go fuck yourself, Paul.
We did have
Yeah, fuck that.
Scoundrel of the Force tomorrow at 3:15 p.m. with Jarvie and Maddie Gunner. We're talking about the latest Bad Batch episodes. And yes, I do want to actually push it.
Yes.
The First Class League, we do have a big match coming up this week. The 8th FCL 11, we have Travesty Fishburne. He's a really good character. I can't wait for you guys to meet him. He sent an audition video. It was very amusing. And
I don't think I'd want.
And Fred Klein, fighting Fred Klein, is the opponent. And actually, he worked with Christian in Village Roadshow back in the 2000s. So I'm kind of getting maybe an Ethan Oren vibe, perhaps. I don't know. I'll have to see. I'll have to see what his is. We'll see what he does. Of course, Town Chattelbash versus Andres Gallego is our headlining match. They both lost their first FCL match, but they both did very well in their loss. So I'm hoping to see one of them's going to get their first victory. That should be cool. And finally, next week after that, June 15th, is the big match. It's going to be Nick the Spoiler Harley. Congratulations, by the way, Nick, for making it up to the Stars, being drafted up by
what?
Get it, buddy?
Representing the FCL. He's a good guy. He's a good dude. I love this guy. He's going up for our first title match. He's staying in the title match against Kofi Outlaw. And if you stay tuned this week, we're going to be announcing the undercard. It's going to be a fun undercard. It should be a lot of fun. Can't wait till you guys to see that. Got some stuff coming on there. And yeah, that will do it. That'll wrap up. Dylan,
hold on, 1 sec. We've got a fantasy update, right? Doesn't Nat do those fantasy updates at the?
Did you ever get one this week?
Where's the? Hold on, That's Nat Vu at the bottom of the leadership board right now.
Oh, that's true.
So why would he do a fantasy roster update to tell you how to lose in that? Okay, you think I'm not? I'm just too nice to Nat too. No, he gets it as well. He's at the bottom. I'm coming for the top. Me, baby. That's me. That's our show, guys.
That is our
That's
show.
actually it.
Thank you so much, guys. Always great to be here, and of course we salute you. Take care, guys.